invite you to join with us in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The second vice chair. Take the roll.
Yes, I just have to get the
I know, that's what I was waiting.
Chairman Charles Duran,
Present.
Vice Chair Elizabeth Ballard, Secretary Peter Falk, Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno, present, Commissioner Lori Longi,
Here.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
Here.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
Here.
Commissioner Ron Gregory,
Here.
Commissioner Alan Drynan.
Here.
Commissioner Dominic Galima.
Commissioners Gregory and Dryanen will be sitting in for the absent commissioners.
Yeah.
Approval of minutes, February 6th. I'm sorry, I've got it back up. It's not on my roll, but,
February 6th, that's the one.
right,
Fire
but before I
announcement.
do that, I've got to do the fire announcement. In case of fire, there are two ways to exit the chambers. To my left or to your right, you exit through those council chamber doors, turn left, walk down one flight of stairs and outside of the building. Perhaps the best way is to the rear of the chamber door, exit through those doors. In either case, once you're outside of the building, please walk a safe distance away from the building. Approval of minutes of February 6th.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 6th meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay. Any errors, omissions, or additions?
I found one on page 3, paragraph 4. I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but it says, finishing off DAFT regulations for upholstery instead of draft.
Draft regulations.
Could be correct.
Sorry.
That's the only one I found in that, so.
Page 3, that was? Okay. Any others? On page 9 of 9, number 14 is other business, and it said there was no new business. There was no old business, really, it should be.
No, other business, you mean? Right?
Well, it could have been other business, right?
Yeah.
Are there any other errors, omissions, or additions?
No.
No?
Hearing none, all in favor with the corrections? 7, sorry.
Abstention.
Any no and 1 abstention?
Do we need to say our names? for the-
600.
Well, I caught that one, so.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, all right. I saw somebody over there before, and I thought we had a secretary. All right. I guess.
Not yet.
Okay.
Jobs.
February 20th is still in progress. March 6th,
Also still in progress. You don't have it in there.
okay. March 13th, special meeting.
I wasn't there, but it looked pretty good.
Any errors, omissions, or additions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Is there a motion in a second?
Motion to approve the minutes of Thursday, March 13th.
Second.
Any errors, omissions, or additions?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor? Against?
I'll
And
abstain.
abstains?
Abstain.
2,
And
So 502.
5,
that's
2
right.
abstentions, 502.
And it's,
I'll get the numbers right eventually. March 20th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for March 20th.
Second.
Found 3 errors on that.
Motion's made and seconded.
Glad and Drinan.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did talk to Rachel on this one, but let me go down first. On page 1, I can't make motions that I haven't made any.
Right.
So this is a problem without having anybody here.
Okay.
There's voice recognition, which some of you had raised before without having secretary present.
Probably me.
I did request a motion at that time to take them out of order.
I actually listened to this one again, and it was that Peter and Kathy had both made the motion simultaneously. And I think because you were sitting far back, you actually can't quite hear you say, I would entertain a motion. It just sort of
Okay.
jumps to the
well,
motion.
Okay.
So for that one, I actually had, Kathy, I had put you down on the notice of action, so.
Page 5, seconded by Commissioner Sarno, and I believe that was on number 5, down in the middle. And I believe it says that Kathy left at a certain time, so if she made the motion.
No,
That's
I
not
did
her.
make the motion
You
to
did?
donate the $150.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I thought you'd left at that
Yeah,
time.
No, I recall that. No.
Maybe.
Okay.
On page 3 was the same thing, that Chairman Duran made a motion. I don't know who made, was that Drinan and Peter again?
I had that one as Falk, yeah, Peter, and then Al.
And I had, and again, that I had recommended or suggested a motion. Okay. If you look up here, on page, why I said that before, Kathy, was on page 4, the third line up, the motion was passed unanimously. Commissioner Sarno had left the room, and I didn't know if you were back. I guess you were.
Did come back, yeah.
But there's no mention up above that you had come back.
Okay.
So we need to add in where you returned.
That's what I say, this is the trouble of not having an individual present to see what's going on.
I wouldn't have gone during a vote, though. That's the only thing.
Right.
No, you
Sure.
wouldn't have. but
No,
it
that
should
doesn't
be-
make any sense. I did leave early
You did.
one evening, but
You
it was
did.
after
Okay.
all of the,
But, see, I'd read this beforehand.
yeah,
went out and came back, though.
It was just momentarily.
okay.
I know, but
But I
I'm
would
sorry.
have voted. That's the,
My point is, it's in an error, and if we had an individual present rather than going by voice, we wouldn't have the problem, but. Okay, on page 6, number 8, Commissioner Ladd, it's the reminder he's talking about, but he had mentioned the Current's name because I believe it had been in the paper that the Current had bought the reminder.
it's a reminder, but.
And on the same line, it says leader, not litter.
Yep.
I'm sorry, where are you on this?
Line 8.
Commissioners' correspondence,
Item
line-
8,
What page? Oh, I see.
page 6.
16. Paragraph 8, or number 8.
Just a spell check, 2 Ts in litter.
Spell checks don't pick up real words. That's the only thing.
It was more than a liter of deliveries.
Should that read reminder? Should that read reminder then?
Oh,
instead
yeah,
of
that
current?
should be the reminder, not the current, that's right.
Okay.
It is a
Current does a
reminder.
good job, not the reminder.
Because the current
Yeah,
bought
the
the
current-
reminder, I think is what you.
Yeah,
That's what I said, the current
That's
bought
what he
the
said, the
reminder,
current
but-
had bought the reminder, but it's the reminder he's talking about, not the current.
Well, they do it with the current too, believe it or not.
Well,
They don't do driveway delivery, though.
some of them do, I guess, I don't know.
I've got a box, believe it or not, all right, and they still throw it in my driveway.
Okay.
have driveway
All right,
delivery,
well,
just for
let's,
point of
no,
reference.
let's not continue that discussion.
Well, I didn't
Page
put
7,
the pick
if
on
we
them, I
can
just
find a
wanted to get
better
the-
word than interrupted, and just put whoever asked, we've constantly done that, I don't know.
What line are you in? About how?
It's Chairman Duran,
Second paragraph from the
interrupted,
bottom.
What's that?
just
Page
asked.
7?
Yep.
Oh,
Page 8,
oh, yeah.
on, it says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraph down. Chairman Duran wondered if it was oversized for this particular project, but will also meet standards. I don't know about the standards, but I meant the regulations for the additional activity.
So meet the regulations?
Right. Well, for the additional activity that they're going to do, because they plan to build.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would cross off standards
I
and
don't know
say
what you wanna
regulations
do.
for the additional activity.
Well, activity or projects or whatever else you want to put in there.
Additional development?
But that's what I had asked, additional development.
Sure.
I don't know what wordage I asked, but it wasn't anything to do with standards. I don't think. Page 10 down below, Chairman Duran asked about outside playground. The reason I asked, and it doesn't say there, is because it was shown on the pictures. And had been given bad information, and I wanted it stated that there wasn't going to be one.
So I'm going to add at the end of playground shown on the images.
Yeah, the outside playground shown on the images, right. He stated that there was no outside playground. And that should be in there because that can be important.
And,
Yeah,
well,
coming
it is there. It says,
that there?
asked if there would be outdoor music or playground. They said no.
Right. That's about all I have. Any other additions, errors, omissions?
Two more.
Go ahead.
On page 2, paragraph 4, I think it says, Mr. Koppler said the underpass that has Nuntuck Street, its Nuntuck only has one S.
It has a C at before K, too.
Actually, in some places it doesn't.
Well, officially,
Yeah, well, the school
for the
does.
street.
I think
Okay,
I
either
spelled
way.
that wrong, actually. I
Needs
think I
to
tried to
be
fix that.
spelled
That's a tough one.
correctly.
Don't try it.
Messed it up.
Has the
And on-
Has the Nuntucks.
Page 8, paragraph 2. I'm not sure if this was an error or not. It said the anterior system that they have built on the property. I assumed that was interior. Anterior would mean it's before, more to the front of the property, but I would think it would be the interior,
Yeah, I would think it's interior system.
because the whole drainage system is the whole interior of the property.
You're right.
That's all I had.
How about Ron? You usually come up with,
I didn't really spot anything,
Okay.
to be honest with you.
It's a
Any
lot better than
further?
80 pages.
beg your pardon?
It's getting a lot better than the 80
They-
pages.
Yes, they are, yeah.
An improvement.
It is. Not much of a rewrite this time, right?
No, there isn't really. It's just the errors here were basically if you'd had the person here.
Right.
And in general, Rachel, are you recording the vote or abstentions or the names of the people so we don't have to say them each?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but what we need is the thing
No,
that
we're
really
gonna have to
helps.
do it because they're still doing it by voice, and that's the problem.
And it's just, it keep, even for me to write it down, it's a lot easier if we do the roll,
Yeah.
because it's easier to catch.
That's another job tonight
just
for
gotta get used
Kathy.
to that.
Yeah, we gotta get used to it.
Okay.
Okay,
Trainable.
then the motion's been made and seconded, and we've discussed it. All in favor with the additions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Any against? And any abstentions? 3.
Lori?
Lori
Ron and Nick.
and Nick.
Nick.
Still a bigness.
Okay, that takes care of minutes. Staff report, town attorney is in person. Welcome.
Hello, stranger.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just a couple of one status on the two villages appeals, the companion cases. We're still waiting for decision. There's no mandatory timeline for when the appellate court would issue that. Some that were heard before us have been issued, and some that have heard after us have been issued already, but those tend to be the very quick turnaround ones on that. The one other case that has been filed was the Morgan versus the TP&Z, appealing the Commission's denial of an application for text amendment. We filed a motion to transfer that to the land use docket. The appeals may no longer go directly to a specialized land use docket. We just heard on yesterday, as a matter of fact, that the court granted that application, which we're happy to do, because that way we'll get to a judge that actually specializes in the land use issues rather than taking our random judge that might be assigned to that.
Well, that's good.
So, and that's it. Otherwise, it's been a fairly quiet quarter, other than waiting for those and moving forward on that one land use current new appeal that's there. So,
Any questions for the town attorney?
Yeah, quick question, again, just regarding how we're taking minutes and how it's different before. I mean, I had an informal, brief conversation with you once before. We're in transition now from having someone taking notes to having them transcribed by someone who listens to a tape. Are there any legal considerations that you would suggest that we take under consideration as we make this transition?
Other than exactly what I just observed here, being very careful in terms of going through the minutes as they match up through there, because the statute does allow for a audio recording of the meeting on that. But it is important, as I noted, just even with the some minor and some less than minor changes, that you carefully go through those and make those amendments to it, and then we work off of that record. So, like many aspects of life, efficiency is not necessarily the most accurate, but that's what we're moving to in a lot of different areas. So that's on it.
I had one
Go
question.
ahead.
My question was the third Morgan versus Enfield P&Z. I never got anything regarding it, so I don't really know what they.
Okay. Oh, I'll get a copy of the writ out in our response to that to everybody.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did.
Yeah, I
They
thought
sent
we-
me, that's,
Oh.
but I got it by email, yeah.
You should be on that email.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I just didn't
double
know-
check, Commissioner. If
Okay.
not, I'll make sure that gets out to you.
I
as
just was
additional copy.
wondering, typically I thought we always had a meeting when something like this happened so we could discuss the case.
We do after, but he just
Yeah.
had it transferred, so there's
Yeah,
no
we'll
court date.
we'll get
There's
together,
nothing-
we'll get together
okay.
an executive and go through the whole bit with that. But
Okay.
at this point, it's just the initial transfer onto the docket and things like that. But I'll double check to make sure you get a copy of the writ.
Okay.
So,
Anything further? Thank you very much.
back to the charter revision.
Oh, fun is, huh?
That's fun.
Like a pinball, back and forth.
At least it's the same night.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Enjoy.
Okay, next is a new one for us and for her, is our zoning enforcement officer in person.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. The first item I have for you all, as noted, is a brief discussion of the process that we'll use for monthly reporting to you all, also to other commissions and boards that are interested in the same information. I do not have a formal report for you tonight. I can say that I have, since I've started, 17 that I've managed to keep track of complaint issues that I have started processing through my hands, and there are additional 3 or 4 in my email that I haven't accounted for yet. If you have a particular question about any of those, I know some of them came from this group, I can respond to those. But I've been looking into the database system that we have, Munis, looking at the way that we enter that information with the hopes of pulling that out in a standard report using standard codes and getting you a very brief comment summary as well as what steps have been taken on each of these complaints. So I am hoping I will have something of that structure for you May 1st. I'm hoping that it will be the actual report out of Munis. If that makes sense to you, if you have any questions about it, I'm very open to answering those at this time.
Go ahead.
Okay, I had gotten a call, and I mentioned it to,
Have you finished your report first? Yeah, I thought you were
For
gonna ask
the
on this
monthly
specific-
reporting process, that piece of it.
Okay,
right.
Do you want me to do everything and then?
right, then we have questions?
Okay, all right.
Okay. So I have that, and then in addition to that, you were provided a copy of the citation amendments to the enforcement section of the ordinances. So what I'd like to, we need to merge that into the enforcement procedures that we have. So what I'd like to propose is that we make some draft changes, bring those to the next April meeting for acceptance, with the hope that you all be able to accept those changes on May 1st.
Do you want to ask
So that
a
would be-
question specifically on that?
It's a regulation change. Basically, the regulations need to be changed to match with the ordinance change.
Right.
So that has to go through our standard
All right,
process.
not regulations, you're talking about our procedures? that
The
are in
procedures,
regulation?
right.
Oh, the
Yes,
procedures.
the enforcement procedures document,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
As opposed to the zoning regulations?
yes.
Okay. Yeah,
What is
never
the
mind.
significance of the boldface? It may be obvious, but the boldface in
In
the
the-
set of
in the-
recent. Yes.
I think, I'm not aware of
Okay.
any other than just headers. Just
No,
a
some of the
point header.
text is boldface. I was wondering if there was a significance to that fact. No, okay.
Not that I'm aware of,
All right,
no.
thank
Well, I think these,
Those revisions, perhaps since the last draft, or,
Well, this is brand new.
Yeah.
Everything in this, it's my understanding, is brand new. And
Okay.
so I'm assuming it's following the same structure as the document that the commission.
Our document, there was
There were
many
so
different
many-
versions
there
of,
were
Right,
so
no,
many
this is from
versions.
the town council.
right.
yes.
okay.
So this would be from the town council versus our own documentation.
And this was approved at their last meeting?
Correct.
So
yes.
this is their version.
This is
of-
their version, yes.
Perhaps the boldface's additions they made are revisions to the last
Right.
draft they saw. Okay.
Which I can follow up on.
Just curious.
Your date is 2/28/14 is the date, is at the bottom is the date. There were many revisions, as Lori says, that we'd worked on, and I think the last time there were a couple of verbiage. One was, Red wanted some certain assurances, and which we gave, and I think that was only a word change, as I recall. So,
So this would be to not change this, but to edit the standard zoning enforcement procedures
Right.
to make sure we're able to fully follow through on the citation process.
So would we then need the procedures and then this, so we will know what's got to be changed?
Right, so I'm proposing that next meeting, the next April meeting.
April
4th, the 17th.
Okay.
That we bring to you a draft edited version of this so that you
Okay.
have it to review and discuss and then vote.
Vote on it the next meeting.
At the following
Okay,
meeting.
perfect.
okay.
There are a couple of questions that Courtney is fielding to Kevin, to make some clarifications on when this goes into effect. If we have something that's open now, can we pursue citations if necessary, or is it only for anything that is opened after April 1st, for example? So she is pursuing that, and then also connecting with regards to appointing citation hearing officers.
Well, citation hearing officers, according to this, are appointed by the town manager.
Right, she's working with
But-
Matt on, I'm sorry, I did
But
say
maybe
Kevin, yeah.
he's waiting until you have somebody coming, because it's quite a procedure before you do this, which is what the council wanted and is what we wanted. We wanted people to have a chance to comply with whatever your orders are. But
Right.
we did have some, I guess, scofflaws or people that don't care about zoning regulations, and I guess it's a matter of last resort. And that's all we really wanted.
Right, but there's an appeal timeline
Right,
that gets.
and that was
yeah,
added
right.
too, because really, all we want is compliance. We don't
Right.
really want,
I would anticipate either the 17th or the 1st having full input on both of those topics for you.
all right, good.
And then the last piece would be the blight report, which you have in your packets. And that has the open cases. And I would just, as a new person in this position, confirm that you're interested in the open positions, the open cases versus full activity for the previous month. So I can provide either.
I'm personally only interested in the open.
Okay.
But if something is pending, if we don't know that it's pending, then we think it's closed and taken care of. So if there's like little notes that they're waiting for something, if that's gone, then we think it's been taken care of. So
True.
I always found it was useful to have the ones that they would have little notes on it that said, waiting 10 days to find out such and such, or have to wait for the weather because they can't comply with this.
Right. I'll make sure that that's on there. The only thing I believe that isn't on there, and I have a different version that I gave ZBA, is if it's in the hands of the court
Right.
at this point.
Okay.
So do you want those? Because that list is fairly stagnant at this point in time, and some of them date fairly far back. So.
I don't know if any, I
Okay.
guess if they come up, we can always ask
Sure.
Rachel at that point if we have them. It's more when people are calling us and we don't know where it stands, so we
Certainly.
don't have an idea of where to direct them. Like
Okay.
if we know it's already being looked at, we can say, the blight officer is looking at it right now and the town is handling it or whatever.
I do have one case on my street.
Wait until she's finished.
That's all
please.
that I
That's
have.
it, okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead,
I do
Charlie.
have one blight case on my street that I've mentioned to the town numerous times, and apparently they're waiting for the building to collapse before they do anything about it.
What's the address?
3 to 5 School Street,
Okay.
I believe, or 7 and 9, I'm not sure, it's down the end. But the roof shingles are blowing off and hitting people. You got holes in the roof you could throw basketballs through.
I will check on the status of that and be able to give you an update at the
Yeah.
next.
Last time I've
meeting.
seen the report on it, they're still going, they list in the owner's name, who's now living in Maine, and totally abandoned the whole thing. So the bank, it's been through 2 banks since. And I don't know, but nobody wants to take responsibility for it.
Well, that sounds, I think there are a couple of cases like that, pretty much abandoned, but I will follow up, see what the status is that, see if there's anything else that can be
We
done.
have several people on our street, including me, that don't like looking at it every day. And like to see some activity there.
Okay. This is Charles.
And do we need?
I had one, I had gotten a call, I mentioned to Rachel, about the 2 Army trucks that are over in the Misty Meadows area. And now I got a call from a neighbor that said there was a poster on the back of it with a big machine gun that said, "Come and take it." And they feel like that's kind of threatening. And I didn't know if the sign, it's like a sign on the back of the truck. And so I drove by and just so I could visually say that I did see it, and wrote down what it said, and it did say, "Come and take it." And there's a big machine gun under it, and it's on the back of the truck.
I think I think a sign was on one of these vehicles just as I started.
Okay.
And so I spoke to a gentleman today about this and several other new bits of information he has for this property. So I'm going to check on the new bits that I have
Okay.
and find out if there was already a conversation, a decision made about signage on this vehicle to determine whether there's anything that we can do. But I received that information today.
But there's been complaints from the commission for quite a while on the size of the vehicle and the vehicle itself, because it certainly is overweight and oversized according to our weight limits.
Okay, the weight piece has not been presented to me before. Whether they're properly registered is what they've been working on since I've been here, and I believe that
Well, zoning, allowing, well, I guess it was also something came up about the registration, and it's, I guess under the zoning, it's under commercial vehicles.
But the
In
other,
residential
the other
areas.
point that the neighbors are saying, and this is why I was in that area of town, so I drove by myself, is the trucks don't have a turning radius, so they're driving over the curb.
That was
So
pointed
they're-
out to me today,
Okay, so
too.
they're making their own pathway,
Mm-hmm.
and they're driving over the town's curbs and sidewalks with this oversized vehicle, and so they can't make their own turn into the driveway because the truck is too big.
Right. Most of this is new as of today, and I will follow through. There's
Okay.
also been a suggestion that we check to see who the vehicles are actually registered to, whether it is the owner or someone else. So I'll be following through with
Okay.
all of these details.
Very good.
Well, that's good. And then my other one was South Road. A while back, we had a woman, when we were writing the regulations for landscape businesses to be as a home occupation, she came in and mentioned there was a landscaper next to her, and they were running a business out of it. The same week that I got the call on the Army trucks,
This 9 South Road,
that's it.
okay, that has been pursued. They received a cease and desist. I just checked on that. We are beyond the cease and desist appeal. So it's the perfect case example of determining, can we move into citation or not? So that's what I'm investigating.
Okay,
Very good.
that's positive.
I have one thing too. I'm going to
Okay,
bring up that
go
solar. I
ahead.
don't know if it's to bring it up here,
Yeah.
Commissioner correspondence, but 20 Araffia Road seems
Yep.
to have just installed a new solar
Yep, I'm
panel.
on that one too.
Is that to our standards or our code or our regulations?
Yeah, where I've had several interactions with the installer.
Okay.
I've confirmed that we have the appropriate documentation on file. The short answer is, if the array is not set beyond a certain angle, it is to our standards. If it is tilted too much, then it exceeds our standards. And so at this point, the installer is resetting the options, the automatic options for that unit, and will be submitting a letter to me explaining what it is that he is doing. And so we can do some follow-up inspections to see if it seems like it is. I mean, some of it is eyeballing. It's
Well,
close, but
it also,
yes.
I think, is tracking, because unless
Yes, it is.
he's moving, I don't know. But I mean, one day it was, facing this way, another day it was facing this way, and
It was
it's
huge.
It's huge. It looks like it's a drive-in movie screen, in someone's backyard.
Actually, that is something that there was our office signed off on an initial plan. A second one was submitted after that date. What I've been investigating at this point is, does it really follow the second plan? Because the second plan does say 18 feet if it is not angled beyond a certain point. But you are right. The initial one did not say tracking on the plan. I have to look at the application
Okay.
to see whether it says tracking or not. And if it doesn't say tracking, that is something that we can look further into. Right now, I'm just trying to confirm, can it be set in such a manner that it will remain within the 18 feet ordinance?
I'm all for solar energy. I don't want, if anybody's listening, I don't think I'm not for it, but I mean, maybe we need to look at our regs again. I've never seen, this is the first time I've actually seen one. So at least those lots are probably R33s. So, I mean, it's not taking up the full backyard, but if you get one of those solar panels on a .13, .15 old lot, I mean, that's going to take up the entire backyard.
It is,
as
I-
well as being an eyesore to your neighbor.
Right,
you
I
know.
don't believe there's anything that says you cannot have a tracking unit. I will double check that.
I looked
We
in
were
at
checking it
yeah.
beforehand.
And the environmental arguments that have been put on the table that I have heard are that it's significantly more efficient
Right.
than the rooftop.
I felt,
so.
because I went by it too, and I saw it. And the day I saw it, it was reflecting pretty much. And I realized that when we wrote our regulations, we were so interested in the solar farms and that we were trying to encompass the residential houses that we might not have picked up everything, because in our roof mounts, we actually have a little thing that said any glare generated by the system must be mitigated or directed away from the adjoining property or adjacent road when it creates a nuisance or a safety hazard. But on the ground mount, we missed that. So I think that we really need to look at these again, because as they're popping up, our goal was to make houses more energy efficient, but not to create a problem for abutting properties.
Let me ask, in case this is reopened, is the power that this is generating more than that the house is using? In other words, could they be selling it back and put in our requirements that it's only usable for
What
the property
I
that it's on?
remember, don't quote me exactly on this, but what I remember the installer telling me is that at certain times, he may have more than he needs. So yes, it is able to go back to the grid. But that depends on the season, and it depends on.
I understand
the-
that, but how much more?
I don't have those facts.
No, that's what I was wondering, if that's something we should look into here, because really,
It's the size.
the size.
Well, that's how,
Have you seen it? Have you been out to see it?
Yes, I have
Oh, you have.
pictures
So
of it.
Okay,
it
you
is-
do,
You know
okay.
how big it is then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was something a permit had to be pulled for, is that correct? Or can any homeowner just put that up?
No, they pulled a
No,
permit.
That was a
right?
permit.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, but there was an initial permit that was signed off. The second permit never made it, and so our department was, for all intents and purposes, was finished. A second one was submitted and put on record in the building department, and that's what they built to.
Oh, so this is,
Okay.
all right, so we have this problem going back to what we've had before. They give you one, and then they change it, and
And
you aren't notified.
the information, right.
Never
And so
flowed
I
through.
have been
Okay.
speaking with
you're
the
looking
staff
into
and
that.
with Courtney as a new employee
Because
to
we had
figure
talked
out.
about that, I guess, prior to you coming on board, that there was this problem, and things didn't end up the way we thought they were in the office.
And when I looked at the regs, I was thinking that we just missed, like, we put 1 in 1 for the houses, but we might want to really look at these, because we would have the same concerns for the houses as we would a ground mount. Actually, maybe more, because it would be lower.
Yeah, because
So-
aesthetically, they're not attractive, so.
Well, that'll be a good
Right.
subject for our third meeting of the month.
So I can have an update prepared for the next
Well,
meeting.
and your
or from next-
suggestions, you've
Yeah.
been involved more or less with this in your previous engagements.
Yeah, a little bit, yes,
bit.
a little bit.
Probably
Not as
much
much
more
as some
than-
other areas, but a little bit.
Probably more than we have.
So, I don't know how much time you want to spend on the topic this evening, but, I have gotten a bit from the installer. But for the
you're working on
moment,
it.
I'll continue to pursue, is this unit able to be set in a way that it does not exceed our standards within the ordinances? And I will double-check the application about the functioning of it, and then
Right.
we can determine whether they need to seek any type of, whether they need to come back because it wasn't installed as the
Right.
original design.
And I think that we, as a board, need to really
We
think
do.
about the
Maybe you
tracking,
put that
because
on so
if
that
a
we
ground
can-
mount is movable, and I have gone by and it's at different points of the day, sometimes it's facing one way, then the glare can be an issue, and that's the one that we should have the glare clause in. Okay.
Well, this is one of our first, so.
Yeah,
take it as- as
it's a
definitely
learning
Yeah.
experience.
I thought, Rachel, I thought they were going to fix that between the building department.
it's in progress, and that's, part of what
In
Tracy's
progress.
working
How
on.
long does it take to say, oh, it's all right, I guess.
Rome was not built in a day.
It's frustrating. Okay. A couple others. State Line Auto, they're flying, I don't know what you call them, the rooster flags out there, the long trailer flags.
Okay.
Actually, they're on state property. They got 2 of them out there. And your restaurant at the state line has their outside mounted TV. That's been brought up several times.
Backyard barbecue.
Yeah,
Oh, backyard grill?
Yeah.
Okay.
they have an
Television
outside
out front.
TV. They have an outside TV. It's mounted on the outside wall.
Thought we addressed that last year with them, didn't we?
Oh,
We've
yeah.
addressed it many
That's, I just gave it to her, maybe with the fine ordinance in here now. It's the same with the auto dealer. I don't know if it's the same owner or not the same owner, but it's been a subject of violations.
I have just one that's an out-and-out violation, should be very easy for you.
Okay.
On the Shell station on Hazard Avenue, on 190.
So, I'm sorry, say the number again?
Corner of Elm and 190
Okay.
has a collection, a clothing collection there, which is,
Is on my list for a drive-by inspection tomorrow.
You are good.
Oh, wow.
but that's a straight-out violation, so it should be easy to deal with.
Am I doing okay so far?
Good.
Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. Rachel's up, Assistant Town Planner.
We'll keep it pretty short tonight.
Okay.
Rachel, I'm sorry, did we need to do anything formally as far as bringing the document in for acceptance next meeting?
For the standards report,
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think that's just
Put
to
it
be
on the
accepted.
agenda.
We'll put it on the agenda as its own section and
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Yeah,
maybe earlier in the evening so you can.
yeah, put it, you gotta do it up, get her on earlier.
Yeah. As part of staff
We'll
reports.
arrange something.
So I'm sure you can tell it's now spring and we are getting very, very busy.
Good.
You'll see we have a lot of applications to be received this week. A couple things to just let you know about since springtime related. Public Works is going to be doing some upgrades around the freshwater pond. I think we mentioned this before, and Matt mentioned it, I believe, at the last meeting when he was here for the capital improvement budget, that they're going to be doing some installations. There's fountains that they're going to be adding into the pond.
Good.
They're going to be adding some more benches and some really nice trash receptacles that are actually being produced over at Asnuntuck College. And they're looking at refreshing the lighting as well. So there's some good upgrades coming around there.
I'm sure the lighting isn't going to bother any of the residents, okay?
No.
Or the senior housing.
Yeah, that's being, I mean, it's going to be, I think they're going to be probably in the exact same locations, and it's all going to be done in-house. And then the other thing is that we've been getting, it being spring now, we're starting to get some questions about agriculture and farming, particularly around that small-scale ag activity.
Took over 2 years to get an answer.
Not just the poultry, it's actually also growing of crops. So it's one of those things we're going to be looking into a little bit more because as we work with the consultant on the poultry piece, there may be some places that we actually need to do some clarifying. And it is part of our POCD to look at encouraging the expansion of farming activity in town. So it's one of those things that we are, starting to really delve into as to what does it say in each section, where is there conflict, how can we resolve it. So it's sort of an expansion of that poultry piece. And then the last thing I've got are just a couple event announcements. The Thompsonville Partners event was postponed to April 16th, and that was because of the wintry weather. So it will be that morning, April 16th at 8 a.m. And if you want to RSVP, you should contact Kim Markwell over in the Development Services office. And then the last one I've got is the Healthy Enfield event. That's going to be next Thursday. That's our workshop for this month. Really hope everyone can come. We are now officially a sponsor of that event, or PCC is officially a sponsor of that event. And it should be a really good day. That's all I've got. Thursday night, 6 to 9 p.m. right here in council chambers.
Any questions for Rachel?
They are asking for RSVPs on that because they're expecting it to be pretty full. So it's
Okay,
social
already.
services.
I think I already called, yeah. Call special service. Any further questions? No questions for Rachel? She got off easy.
Yeah.
Okay,
We got a long list tonight.
thank you. At this point in the meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission welcomes comments, concerns, and opinions relating to planning and zoning in Enfield from anyone who's present, provided you may not discuss any matter of business that is at this time already elsewhere on the agenda, any matter that's part of an open public hearing of the commission, or any matter where a decision of the commission may be pending. Is there anyone who would like to address the commission at this time? Anyone would like to address the commission at this time? Yes, sir, if you come forward, please. State your name and address. Come up and use a microphone, sir.
My name is John Kula, 282 Hazard Avenue. It's on the permit for the manufacturing, manufacturer's brew pub.
Sir, that's on the agenda, and I
It
just
is?
stated you cannot talk about that at this
can't.
time. You can talk at the time when the case is opened, you'll be called.
All right. I know the proceedings.
Anyone would like to address the commission? Hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence. I believe we had a magazine. They're always interesting. You'll notice again on the Capital Region Council referrals, different towns. You have a referral from Ellington, moratoriums. Summers is zoning regulation changing. And from Ellington, working on their zoning map. Very kindly, I guess it was Rachel, did the notes from the Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agencies from the conference. And thank you very much, Rachel. Very, very interesting.
We've got time on medical marijuana, so
Yep.
it's a good thing for us.
Any questions for that on that? And I believe that is it on the material that was given to you. Any commissioner correspondence?
I think we already did it.
We already did it. Well, CEO was here, that's why, okay.
Charlie gave me some articles that I'm going to scan and send to everyone.
Okay, fine.
We'll get them out.
I gave her a
Oh,
couple
right, the
articles
ones
on
you
medical
showed.
marijuana and one on open use streets or.
Complete streets.
Complete streets.
And that's part of the topic for the meeting next week, so it's really timely.
Maybe you could, would they want to use that at the meeting? Would they be interested in that as an additional handout at that meeting? Well, check it out, they may.
Yeah, the article's about Middletown, and they've adopted a complete streets policy, and it is something that's on Courtney and Matt's agenda to have us be working on within staff. So Peter and John and I have started that conversation to really move forward with this, and I think the meeting next week will be a good opportunity to keep things in progress.
Okay. Okay, new public hearing, legal, second vice chair. Read the legal notice and take the roll for public hearing 2790.
I'll start
This
with the
is
roll.
a special permit to open a manufacturing group,
I'll start with the roll call.
please. Well,
Chairman-
probably legal notice first.
Okay. Thursday, March 27th, 2014, Journal Enquirer, public notice. The Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 3rd, 2014, beginning at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, concerning the following. Public hearing 2790, special permit to open a manufacturer's brew pub in an existing building at 504 Hazard Avenue in an Industrial 1 District, map 101, lot 216, Michael McManus applicant, STR Holdings and Company owner. Applications are available for inspections at the planning office at the Town Hall at 820 Enfield Street, dated this 22nd day of March 2014. Chairman Charles Duran,
Present.
Vice Chair Elizabeth Ballard, Secretary Peter Falk, Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno, present. Commissioner Lori Longi,
Here.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
Here.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
Here.
Commissioner Ronald Gregory,
Yeah.
Commissioner Alan Drynan.
Here.
And Commissioner Dominic Alimo.
Commissioners Gregory and Drynan will be sitting in for the absent commissioners. The applicant, please come forward, give your name and address, and make your presentation. While they're doing that, just doing the notes, the water company is working with the company and has basically no concerns. Water pollution has no concerns at this time. Fire department had two concerns, which I guess they will address. And police, I asked, there was no reaction. I asked the assistant town planner, Rachel, to get a comment, seeing as the council has been working on traffic and pedestrian control in that area. And I wanted something from the police just to hear, although I don't know on Sunday if it'll be too much of a pedestrian traffic at that time, but should have his comments. Health Department had continued interaction, and engineering had no concerns at this time because it's interior and there's nothing exterior to be done. Welcome, sir, and
Good evening.
name and address, please.
My name is Mike McManus.
You'll have to either move closer to it.
Okay, that should be good.
My name is Mike McManus, and it's 8 Clinton Lane.
Is that red light on?
I think so. I can hear him better.
Yes, it's still on.
Okay.
So I'm proposing a manufacturer's brew pub, which in layman's terms is a microbrewery. And what we'll be doing is producing all of our own beer on site. And any customer will be able to come in, go into a tap room, which will be separated from the brewing section. You'll be able to request a sample, stay for a pint, and take home a growler with you.
Take home a what?
It's a container, it's called a growler, and it's a sealed 64-ounce container. And you can pick whatever flavor or type that you like.
Do you have any other presentation, any visuals or anything of that type, or just your verbal?
Everything that was presented through the permitting.
Okay. Because we do have, and I didn't know if you'd have that because you are on television and other people are only going to be able to hear what you've said.
Okay. I have everything that was submitted with me, if that's what you'd like to see.
I don't know if they'd pick it up. I didn't know if you'd have anything.
Yeah. I don't-
Okay. No, that's all right. I don't know if they'd be able to pick up any of these pictures. They're probably too small. But,
Yeah.
will they? No, I don't know if they'd be able to.
Hold them up and see.
Hold them up as, that's just the building.
And there's no exterior work.
See that?
No, I know, no exterior work, okay. Well, that's just that. No, they probably
for
won't.
example.
Okay.
Well,
Several questions, I guess, on, that had, would you explain for the public then, I guess one of the concerns I've heard from one of the other commissioners, and just to help you out, your waste material, what is it, what are your plans?
So the only waste material that comes out of the brewing process is you're brewing with barleys and grain, and when you're finished with those, they make good feed for livestock. So what I plan to do, and I've already reached out to a couple local farms, I'll be able to bring it to them and their animals will take care of it. So there is actually no leftovers when the process is all finished.
Okay, meanwhile, though, from your process to the farm, how's it being handled? I know, I have the reports, but your people at home don't, and
Yeah.
this is why,
What happens is it's all stored in a container, and then once it's taken...
is it a sealed container?
Yes, sir.
Is it indoors or outdoors?
It's indoors.
Thank you.
So after it's taken out of the manufacturing process, it'll be put into a sealed container and kept indoors, and then it will be brought to a local farm.
How?
It will be brought by a regular pickup truck.
Weekly, daily?
Probably every
Monthly?
other day.
Every
Depends
other-
on the support that we receive from the town, so hopefully more often.
So there'll be no outside storage either of waste products or finished product? It'll all be
No,
stored,
sir.
everything inside?
Everything will be inside.
So if the product's being recycled, technically it's not waste.
Even better. Yep.
Security.
Security, the building that we're going into has a full alarm system. So every single day, all the doors and the windows will be locked. The brewing area will be completely separated from the public, so there will be no interaction like that. They have, like I said, the alarm system, and we also have lights that will go on with monitors. So everything is with sensors.
Okay, your lighting system outside, is it going to be coincide with your hours? Or are they going to be separate? In other words, your parking lights?
The parking lights will be as they are right now through the owner of the building, and the lights for the building that I'll be occupying will be on whenever there's customers going in and out, and then if someone was to go near the building, then the sensors will turn them back on.
So the lights will be operating during the hours of operation on, that you've indicated in.
Correct.
I had a question on the hours. The hours were not very late at all. I mean, you were closing at 10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday.
A manufacturer's brew pub typically doesn't operate like a nightclub or a big sports bar. It's more of a place where you come in for a pint or two. It's not somewhere that most people stay for hours on end. So I think the majority of our customers are going to be coming in at earlier hours.
Right. Well, and I just thought it was nice to see the hours listed, and I looked at the hours. The hours weren't late. It was the latest you were on a Friday or Saturday night was 10 o'clock, and you weren't open every single day.
Well, since we're on hours, why don't you state the hours?
Okay, Wednesday it was 2 to 8, Thursday 2 to 8, Friday 2 to 10, Saturday 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Sunday 12 p.m. to 5.
That's correct.
You wouldn't object if those were a condition then?
I mean, I'd like to see what the customers would prefer, but I'm not objecting.
Okay.
Well, I think what the question is, that if they are on there, that you have the understanding, and if the permission is granted, we would want you to have success, but that you understand with changes, you'd have to come back.
That is, okay.
Okay, so that you understand that. And the public understands that too if you have changes. For example, I know you're dealing with the health department on other matters, but if you should go into food, it would be necessarily to come back, and you'd also have to deal with them on the food, as you well know.
Understood.
Yes.
I just want to go back to those hours. And since this is something new for our town, and I wish you much success with this, I guess if we put those hours in as a condition, then he'd have to come ahead of us to change those hours. But I would like to be open to that. I don't want him, to have to stick by these hours if this takes off, if it's, he finds, I'd like to be a little flexible with these hours for him because we don't know what type of business he's gonna, it's gonna pull or do, and maybe he'll wanna open up on a Monday or a Tuesday. So I hate to see them put on as conditions. Is there any other way we can do that without making it a condition, or?
Well, we typically have the conditions, but I wonder if we can also maybe ease it up by saying that we would allow special events, because
Okay.
you might have that. I don't know. We don't have one in
Well,
Enfield.
if this should happen to be voted to pass, what you could do is allow administrative approval by report to extend the hours.
Without limit, or?
Well, no, within reason. I don't think, so
Right,
far, I don't
right.
think Rachel's been unreasonable.
Right, and she wouldn't do anything without checking, anyway, but I mean, I'd like to just give him a little flexibility.
And
It's
actually-
something new to the town,
actually,
and
it
it may take off. I mean,
It only takes 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Something to think about. I mean, you have these
Uh,
hours here. If you wanted to relax them, you could to avoid having to come back in. But if you do have to come back in, it
It's
shouldn't
only
take
2
too
weeks.
long.
It's only 2 weeks.
You might mention that to Rachel. She might come to one of our meetings and ask if we need to approve, or if she could do that administratively. We would, depending upon your request, decide which way we go. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
right. So I would put these hours in, we always have.
Right, right. I
And-
know we have. So what happens if you wanted to do less hours? Would it matter?
No.
Would you have to then come in, or no? As
No,
long as
never.
Never, right? So, okay.
Question, it's probably obvious, but in your report, you mentioned micro wineries, et cetera. Will you be either producing or distilling or serving anything except beer, such as wine or distilled hard liquor spirits?
We'd like to do that in the future, but as our startup business, we'll only be producing beer. They all require a different permit through the state, so if we go that route, there'll be a long lead to do that.
Okay, and if that happens in the future, then you understand you'd come back to us to add those
Yes,
as
sir.
well? Okay.
Just a question for down the line. Is there room for you to expand? I'm thinking of the Moonshine Company, I guess, otherwise grew in East Hartford. Do you have room to expand if you should be able to be successful as they are?
Well, in the current building, it'll be a little tight to bring in more storage units, but what we can do is in the future potentially rent out other buildings on the same property and obviously bring it to the council again and go that route.
So there is room on this property that if you needed to
On
expand.
this property, there are other buildings, yes.
would be-
Another question. Have you checked out the Broadbrook one? How does that do? I mean,
It's a very similar business. They're doing very well right now, and I haven't heard any complaints. I've only seen a lot of support. It's very, very similar.
so you think it'll be based on that? I mean, you thinking yours will be?
Yeah, I mean, this is the majority of these businesses all started on the West Coast, and they've spread farther east as time has gone on.
Well, this
And-
area was known for its whiskey production way back. You have Still Lane,
But-
which is
yeah.
named after that, and there were several other grain distilleries in the Enfield,
They
East
ha-
Windsor area.
They had on one of the morning shows about these breweries and that it's a bit. How everybody was always with wine. That now beer is just is like the new wine. You know, I mean that there's so many. If you're a beer drinker, there's so many different kinds of beers and flavors and what have you. So it is mostly on the West Coast. So I'm kind of excited to have it come here.
We've
so.
had, I think, there's one in Northampton. It's been there for quite a while.
Right. They might serve food at the Northampton.
They
one,
do.
though. Yeah.
Yes.
For clarification, a lot of people are wondering which building it is. It hasn't been too clear. I know which one it is because I used to work in that site. But
Okay.
when you go in the building, go in the driveway, it's the one in between the driveway, in between the parking lot driveway and 190, right?
Yes,
one
sir.
facing
When you
the
pull
road.
into, when you pull
Right.
onto the lot, the new parking lot or recently built parking lot on the left-hand side, it's the first building with the flagpole, and it looks like it's 3 small buildings put together.
Right. So it's actually the one that's parallel with 190.
That's correct, yes.
I drove by there tonight, and the access doors are one for each of the 3 sections, and they're on the back side away from the street, so
Yep.
is that people would park behind the building and then enter through the rear side, either to the tap room? There's a door also to the brewery that would be employees only.
Yes.
Is there a third door to the office? I can't
There
remember.
is.
Yes.
There's a door to each building.
Okay, thank you.
My other question was, there's no floor drains in this building, right? So if you have a spill in the building, there won't be anything going into the brook or into the river?
Everything is going to be done with pumps, and it's all on cone bottom tanks, so we're not expecting very many spills, but we will have a mop sink and precautions put in place for that.
But there's no floor drains in there anyways, so.
That's correct.
They can't drain to anything other than the cement floor.
Right.
Okay, that, just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any further questions from the commission?
I
You have
had-
any- oh,
I had
okay.
one more.
Go ahead.
You had put on the little plan, table and chairs, but you never said how many seats were gonna be in there, and if there were gonna be seats at the bar?
There will be seats at the bar, and I'm working with an architect right now in the building department to get an exact seat count to make sure I conform to all codes and
Okay,
regulations.
that was what I was trying to figure out. Okay.
Also, we did receive a zoning practice article that talks about similar operations throughout the country and kind of the different benchmarks that are used by other municipalities. And the ones I see for examples, you're all to the good side of those limits. There's one, though, that some municipalities limit the annual production to so many thousand barrels per year. Do you anticipate, do you know what your capacity, maximum capacity would be, and what then you would expect to produce per year?
We're going to shoot for a pretty high number on our first year, being such a small operation, to go about 1,000 barrels.
Okay. This article has limits of 15,000,
Yeah.
and then 1,000 is one municipality. So again, you're within the limits of other municipalities and general practices.
Yeah, we're not going to be taking over Anheuser-Busch. This is a small operation.
Yeah, none of them.
I some of like the wine trails. I know that you can, and you're gonna see the
Right.
table and chairs here, and you can bring like cheese and crackers and things. I mean, is there gonna be any? Are you gonna allow any food on there at all?
Absolutely. I've already started working with the Health Commission to make sure that I have everything in place so that people can bring their own food in.
Okay, so it would be that type of thing where
Yep.
people could bring their own cheese and crackers and
Yes.
But you're only providing prepackaged food, from what I gather from
That
the
is correct,
application.
yes.
Yourself, okay?
Yep.
You'll be selling the prepackaged food, or is it like
Yes.
this? Okay,
We'll be providing and selling.
thank you.
Any further questions before I open to the public?
Well done.
I just have one for Rachel. If this is not, your notes indicate this is not an establishment that requires a C or D class package store permit, but it will kind of operate like a package store, since people can
No.
purchase 64-ounce items and remove them, take them off the premises. Is it within 1,000 feet of any other liquor store or package store, is my question?
I do not believe so. And because it actually is, of the classes of retail permits that we have, it most closely resembles the grocery store beer-only version.
Okay.
And there's nothing of that size, of that type in this
Closest
area.
package store is way up in the center, M&R or
Actually,
whatever it is down here.
actually, K&R is, I measured it tonight, it's about 1,300 feet. K&R opposite Danny's is about 1,300 feet
And you
away.
got St. Bernard's Church down
No, it's
below.
K&R now, it used to be
Yeah.
M&R. They changed.
St. Bernard's Church is beyond the 1,000
Oh, I know it
foot.
is. So
K&R is
you
the
got-
closest, and it's outside 1,000, I think.
No, it wouldn't be anyway. Okay, if you'll vacate the area, and I'll open it to public. Anyone in the public would like to speak in favor or against this application?
Thank you.
Yes, sir, please come forward. Again, name and address, please sit down.
Okay, thank you, sir. Excuse me. Did I break it?
Please
No.
don't, I hope not.
Did I break? No.
Please.
Okay.
My name is John Cool. I live on 282 Hazard Avenue in Enfield, and I think we should have this in town because this town really needs jobs. And I've seen other towns with their innovations like Windsor, South Windsor, and even Manchester. They're expanding and they're getting more jobs into those towns. And I used to work for STR when it was on that facility there. And it wasn't 504 Hazard Avenue. It was known as 10 Water Street. Because you actually see the sign from the outside. Then when you go at the other end, it says Water Street Private Road. And I think we should have it in there. And I hope I be working in there real soon too. Because it's been over a year since I've been employed. And it's very tough. It's a tough economy out there, especially for people my age. I'm over 55 and they're just not hiring us anymore. And I think we're the best bet for any employer to employ us older workers because we're experienced, we're dedicated, we get to work on time, and we have exemplary attendance records. And I thank the commission for allowing me to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak in favor or against this application? Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Come up, sir, please name and address.
Yeah, I'm Mike Dinder, 29 Plainfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut. I'm also the chairman of the Scandic River Watershed Association, and the association has no concerns with this brew pub going in. We're in favor of it as it is right now, so we have no concerns against it.
Thank you very much, sir. Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Please, sir, name and address. Welcome, Ken. Good to see you. Enjoy your pictures in the paper.
Thank you. Tom Kinsler, 359 Washington Road. I just wanted to add to what was said tonight. If you've ever visited Paper City Ale up in Holyoke or Berkshire Brewery, this could, you could envision this as becoming almost a small tourist destination where people will come in and visit a brewery, they'll buy a growl, and while they're here, they'll stop somewhere else and spend their money in our town. So it's not just the employment in our town and the charm and, you know, the good works that they do, it's what it brings into the community. So I just can't speak highly enough about the idea. And it sounds like you've covered all the bases in terms of risk and that type of thing, so I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to address the commission in favor or against? Anyone else would address the commission in favor or against? Last call. Anything from Rachel?
I was just trying to note those other conditions that I think I heard. Do you want me to-
Well, we'll add them later if you
Okay,
have
so
nothing.
that's all I've got.
Okay. Then, anything more from the commissioner before I close?
I think that the only thing I would want to check with him before we close is if he wanted to add any special event hours. Because I hate to have him come back and even though it only takes 2 weeks, I think that if he had like a window of like special events hours, maximum of 3 hours on the days that we would be closed, then he'd be at least covered to do something if something came up.
There's fundraising that they do in these things. There's fundraisers.
They might
you
have
know.
a fundraiser by some organization
Right.
besides have
I mean,
fundraiser.
because what I'm only thinking about is the Scantic River has their spring splash. Their hours of their spring splash might not coincide with his hours of this thing, but that would be considered a special event
That he might want to be open for.
that he
Yeah.
might want to be open for if he was in that area. That's the only thing. I just don't want to have him boxed into a small.
One way to do that might be to allow some leeway for him, as he's indicated not open on Monday and Tuesday. If he added his hours Monday and Tuesday, 2 to 8, as he has now for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that would open the window to those special events on Monday, Tuesday. He doesn't have to open on Monday and Tuesday, but that would allow him to. So perhaps he wants to consider that as one way to allow for special events or expanding his business throughout the week later on.
Just because he has those hours, he doesn't have to be open. It's
Right.
It's true, exactly.
Would it
He
be
puts
like,
them in, then
Rather-
he's allowed to.
Right.
Have us put those hours in. You don't have to come forward. You can, well, all right, go ahead.
that's good for the
Try
microphone.
to save you time.
Well, we definitely would like to host special events, so if the board is open.
Could you just, sorry, Mike, can you just hit the red button first? Thank you.
We would definitely like to help host special events throughout Enfield. So if we'd be open to longer hours or special event hours, then that's something I would like to consider. Maybe we can put it in where we can go for those types of events, or not to exceed 12 o'clock at night for special events. And then the Monday and Tuesday, although we probably don't plan to be open, if there's a special event, we could have the standard business hours.
Okay.
To do that last one, the thing to do would be to add Monday and Tuesday, 2 to 8. And then again, you don't have to open then, but that would then
Absolutely.
open those 6-hour windows on those 2 days.
I will make
Up
those
to you.
revisions.
So you're adding the hours of Monday and Tuesday, same hours?
2 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday, Tuesday?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out a way so you're not giving them blanket permission just to.
Right, well, that's why I was thinking
to
like,
open.
I was thinking more like a special event time frame of 3 hours. You know, it could be,
But
know.
special events are planned ahead. If he calls Rachel or the office, Rachel could get it to us. Most of these, for example, the auto shows, once he has them, if it's a permanent thing, it goes. But again, a 2-week notice isn't too bad. I don't know
But if
anybody.
there's a lot of events, that could end up being a lot of time on our end
right.
in terms of, per applicant, if we do this for every applicant that's got a business that's going to have special event hours. It becomes a lot of time
Yeah,
on
I
the staff
just-
side.
Right, that's why I'm saying if
Right,
we
if we just
allow
set them
him to
now.
have- Yeah, set them now.
Would you be open to changing from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock every day? And then special events we can go about when they come across?
Yeah, that's not unreasonable.
12 o'clock noon to midnight?
Every day of the week, or
Yeah, well, that way
including
he's not planning to
Sunday?
be open,
Oh,
but.
Right,
okay.
but that gives
And
us
make
some
7 days a
flexibility.
week, 12 to 12?
Yes.
Wait a minute, no.
That's what he's
If you
asking.
leave the hours the way they are, and then say for special events, you allow him to stay open, put in the wording,
Stay open to 12?
for special events, the applicant may remain open till 12. Because what are the bar hours?
Less than that.
Less than
Two?
that, so
Till
12.
2 a.m.
So say for special events, then he's allowed to stay open.
But I don't think we're being permissive by allowing them Monday and Tuesday the same hours as Wednesday,
No,
Thursday,
no,
Right,
Friday.
so we
because he
can-
may,
Do 'em both.
he may open those
All right,
days.
so what we
Okay,
could do
both.
is do Monday and Tuesday, 2 to 8. Then your hours would stay the same, and then you can remain open till 12 midnight for special events.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, because Thursdays might be a later day for you, because a lot of events are on Thursday nights. and
Thursday,
things, and-
Thursday,
Right.
Friday, and
Right.
Saturday
Yeah.
usually.
Okay, so that gives you a little flexibility.
Yes.
We don't want to tie you in a box.
If you're gonna
that's-
have a success, we want you successful.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay, again, because we've had more testimony, anyone in the public would like to speak in favor or against again? Anyone else in the public would like to speak in favor or against? Last call to speak in favor or against. Hearing none, anything from anybody else before I close? Okay, I'll close public hearing 2790.
Okay, I'll make a motion to waive the full submissions requirements of section 9.10.2 because the commission finds that the information is not necessary in order to decide on the applicant's conformance with these regulations.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded by Nick,
Made by Lori.
made by Lori, right? Will the secretary please call the roll for the vote
Chairman Charles Durin,
for the waiver?
Elizabeth Ballard, Peter Falk, Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno for the waiver, Commissioner Lori Longer.
Here.
Longy? For the waiver. Yes, you gotta vote yes or no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, Commissioner Nick Lefakis,
For the waiver.
Commissioner Charles Ladd,
Yes, for the waiver.
Ronald Gregory,
For the waiver.
Commissioner Alan Drynan,
For the waiver.
and Commissioner Dominic Malimo.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve public hearing 2790, a special permit to open a manufacturer's brew pub in an existing building at 504 Hazard Avenue in an Industrial 1 District, MAP 101, Lot 216, Michael McManus applicant, STR Holdings, Inc., owner. This approval is subject to the conformance with the application record and the following conditions. And the conditions are 13, and to include the hours of operation.
Which would be 20.
Oh,
20.
which would be
21.
There's 20,
Oh, 21, I'm
that
sorry,
would
there
be
was another
21.
page. 21, with the hours of operation to include Monday, 2 to 8, Tuesday, 2 to 8, Wednesday, 2 to 8, Thursday, 2 to 8, Friday, 2 to 10, Saturday, 12 to 10, Sunday, 12 PM to 5, with,
22nd one. The 22nd
Second
one would be
condition.
special events.
yes, and special events to be able to allow to stay open till 12 PM at night, to remain open.
The applicant have any problem with the conditions?
No
Second.
problems.
Okay,
I'm wondering if we might,
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion?
yeah, I'm wondering, Rachel, do we need a condition, or is it already covered, a couple of them, one being it's beer only, not wine and distilled products, or is that otherwise covered?
It's covered by their state license.
Okay?
And if there was a change in the state license, it would need to come back because this is a special permit
For a beer.
for this
yeah.
type of.
And how about no outside storage? Is that already covered somewhere in this?
It is, it's taken care of by the health department, fire department, and
It's in their
the
application.
water pollution.
But it's in their, it's covered by their application, there's no current outside storage, or?
It's none in the site
It's not
plan.
allowed.
So the,
Okay. I haven't.
Yeah.
I
Don't, you can't ask questions of him.
know.
All right,
It's about the motion.
all right.
I almost think I heard you say 12 p.m., and just in case you said that, we want to be clear it's midnight.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Catch, Nick.
I did.
Okay. 12 midnight, yes.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
My only comment is I think it's a good use for the building. I hate to see them all be empty.
I was thinking of that. I was also, well, another product that we've been discussing could also be used in those buildings. There's other locations in town. To see a young entrepreneur deciding to do this kind of thing, it's quite an undertaking, and I've been wondering quite a while. To me, it's a good location and should help, as one of the people talked, to help the town, just people coming in to
Hopefully you
town.
use all that space for expansion.
And I think it's
too.
it's great to see somebody starting up a business, and hopefully, yes, it will employ people from town.
Good use of vacant space. Excellent.
So, saying that, if anyone else have any comments? Hearing none, if you're ready to vote, please take the roll.
Do I have to call the absent?
No.
Okay. Chairman Charles Dern.
Absolutely for.
Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno. For it. Commissioner Lori Longi.
For it.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
And I'm for this.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
For it.
Commissioner Ronald Gregory.
For.
And Commissioner Alan Dryden.
4.
Congratulations, and we
Thank you
wish
very much.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Like a lot of happy people.
Did it well. I think it's great to see a young
Yep.
gentleman come up, and
We're glad to see you stay in Enfield.
absolutely.
Are you even old enough to drink?
Wow, all those folks for them.
Old business, SPR 1613, site plan review. The Secretary, please, Second
Chairman
Vice Chair.
Charles Dern.
Present.
Elizabeth Ballard, Vice Chair. Secretary Peter Falk. Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno here. Commissioner Lori Longi.
I'm here, but on this one, I'm gonna not vote because I would turn my spot over to somebody that was here at the last meeting.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
Here.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
Here.
Commissioner Ron Gregory.
Here.
Commissioner Alan Drynan.
Here.
And Commissioner Dominic Malino.
The Commissioners, Drynan and Gregory will be sitting in for the absent commissioners. And you just excuse yourself from voting, that's all.
Yeah,
Or abstain, you don't.
yeah, I just wanted to make note of
Okay.
it.
and we actually didn't have any new information at the last
Oh,
meeting.
okay, that's what I didn't know, okay.
Okay, this has been held on hold. Is the applicant here? Oh, yeah, good.
for Mr. Bradley.
Okay. Basically, you're waiting for two questions, as I can recall. I don't think we have the minutes from this meeting. But the one was with the Parks Department and whether or not the gravel would be any problem for him. And he kept saying that it was all right for the building. Did he ever specifically mention gravel?
We didn't get an email with the, yes, I am okay with the gravel, but we sent him an email and said, are you okay with the gravel? And he said, yes, I'm okay with the location. So my understanding is that he is okay. I mean, we've had a conversation.
Well, let's put it then as a
Seems that-
condition that he puts it in writing that the gravel is no problem for him. I know he said the location's fine. I'm concerned if they ever have to move the building, if the gravel's gonna be a problem for kids with a new realignment of some ball field or something else, and then they're gonna say P and Z or somebody didn't do
I
the,
don't really think that'd be a problem, because they can get it out of there with a bucket loader and just resod it.
well, I know, it shouldn't be a problem, but maybe they don't wanna do it.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't know.
that's the choice thing.
I know, I realize
I don't
that,
see that that's
but
that big a problem, to be honest with you.
it shouldn't be.
No, I wouldn't think so.
But I just like to have everything covered that you
Not
can
like the
think
town
of for
doesn't have a
safety.
bucket loader.
I know, but
I would hope.
I just make it a condition to come in. And I think you were the one that asked about the stake and how whether it was going to stand the winds. And Rachel said there was notes on the plans.
Yeah, on the load, yes. If you look at the drawings for, from the producers of it's exhibit number 5 on the first page. Designed to resist wind gusts of 120 miles per hour for 3 seconds. Design wind load and snow load and floor load. So all that information for the building department's there. And that's something that they will take care of, is making sure that this thing does not blow away.
No, Platter makes good buildings, so that's not a problem.
Okay, so I
Yeah, this is just,
okay, so, again,
in the future, add this field.
does whoever, the applicants association have any problems with, 18 conditions? I don't know. I see other conditions.
I seem to have had a printing error in my set without page
Exhibit
2.
19, are those the conditions? Because I got a second page.
They're out of order is what I
Yeah,
thought.
okay.
It goes
Yeah,
page
but-
132 when I got
But
it.
Oh, there
one
we go.
has 10,
132.
They're out of
they're
order.
18,
It's out
okay.
of order.
I'm sorry. That's what
Mine
had me
weren't.
thrown. Mine are out of order, you're right.
There was one other issue. You mentioned 2 issues, Chairman, during the other was about wetlands, and we did get a response back.
Those were from, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the applicant has any problems with the, how many conditions, 20?
I can't think of any problem, sir.
We have 18, and then unless the commission wants to add the 19th, which would be a written confirmation from Mark Garr that he's,
There's no problem with the gravel. Okay.
I don't see a problem with the gravel. I don't think we need a condition on that.
Well, all I want is a letter on there, it's Parks
Yeah.
Department. They're the
That's
ones that
fair.
do with it. They're not gonna do any harm.
Yeah.
so I'm going to put
Okay,
it,
There's
any
two because
discussion?
One was from a prior meeting.
Okay, then, nobody has any questions? You have anything?
that condition about getting that final confirmation from,
Yeah, just,
I'm going to put it under conditions prior to we met signing to plans, just so
Fine.
that we get it done right away and
Yeah.
We can move
get
forward.
it addressed.
Okay, Chair will entertain a motion. I'll close public hearing, SPR 1613. Chair will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to waive the full submission requirements of Section 9.10.2 because the commission finds that the information is not necessary in order to decide on the application's conformance with these regulations.
Second?
Motion's made, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Oh, I'm not voting.
Wait, can we do the roll?
For 5, oh, the
Chair,
roll call.
Chairman Charles Duran?
4.
Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno, 4. Commissioner Niplafakis?
I'm for this.
Commissioner Charles Ladd?
4.
Commissioner Ronna Gregory?
Here, 4.
Commissioner Alan Drynan?
4.
And Commissioner Longy will not be voting on this.
No,
Okay.
she could,
Abstain.
so, no, any against and 1 abstention.
I'll make a motion to
0-1.
approve. I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1613 site plan review to add a prefabricated structure for storage of softball equipment and sale of prepackaged concessions at the Eli Whitney School, 94 Middle Road, in an R44 district, map 44, lot 52, Enfield Girls Softball Association applicant, Town of Enfield owner. This approval is subject to the conformance with the application of record and 19 conditions, with the 19th condition being that before,
Written confirmation from Public Works regarding the stone will be, and that's a condition to be met prior to signing of plans.
in a memo dated March 14th, 2014, from Rachel Blatt, Assistant Town Planner.
Any discussion?
Yes. I do not have the correct memo in my packet. Okay? I just went through it. I've got Exhibit 14, no. Oh, I just have-
It's
19.
She doesn't have 16.
And there was, well, no, I had a couple. There was 16, there was
Yeah,
14.
and you had 14. I had 14.
Yeah, Exhibit 14, which are all memos, but they're,
Her pack is wrong, just so you know.
why do we have the old, I mean, if,
We just, as we add,
Adding.
Oh,
we just
that's
add on
okay.
top.
I'm
So the
just
newest
finding it.
material is gonna be,
It's out of order, but
Okay, it's like here's 14.
the motion's on the table.
No,
I
I've got
believe
it.
there's a
I
second.
found
You can
it,
be messed
so-
up here.
Well, how do you vote there, Chairman Charles Durham? Elizabeth Ballard, not here. Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno for it.
Is there a second?
I don't know, was there?
There was not a
did
second,
we have-
no.
I'll second.
Okay, now I vote for it.
Okay. Commissioner, Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno for it. Commissioner Longi,
Abstain.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis,
I'm for this.
Commissioner Charles Ladd,
For.
Commissioner Ron Gregory,
For.
Commissioner Alan Drynan.
For.
Commissioner Dominic Alamo.
Okay.
Sick.
Great. Glad you could get your place for storage.
All right.
Did we even vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, right?
Okay.
Just did.
New business. Site plan modification to facade construction of 20-foot and by 20 canopy and existing building located at 40 Palumba Drive, Business Regional BR District, map 57, lot 336. BBL Albany Group 5, applicant Medeiros Realty Trust is the owner. And they did hold an art on these, and the applicant is here, or a representative, I guess, of the applicant.
Good evening, yes, Eric Masterson with BBL Albany Group 5, representing Medeiros Realty and the Lee Auto Group.
Okay, just for materials ownership, the letter is on file.
yes.
Is the permission, okay. Fire department had concerns about the staging area, that it did not block their access.
That is correct. We will note on the construction documents the construction impact area, and also put a note identifying the fire lane will be maintained during construction.
Okay, and no engineering concerns. And the wetlands was decided they need agent approval. Did you get that?
No, you have not received that yet. I have been in contact with Virginia Higley. I have the permit application and am currently working through that. The schedule now is to file that early next week.
So we can't approve that until,
Wait a minute. Let's see, now where are we with that? Just before you start, where would we be?
I always thought we couldn't approve something unless wetlands approved it first.
No, well, this is the wetlands agent approval. Apparently, she can do approval.
For something as small as this, because it's a matter of how much of the land they will be disturbed, and this is a small quantity of land in an upland review area, so it's
Oh,
a different.
It's a different criteria.
Yeah, there are criteria that would kick it up to being a full commission review.
I think there's a statement in the file that stated that fact, that it was either not within 100 feet or something.
Correct.
And therefore, she could give the release.
Okay.
There's a memo in there from.
We can make it at a condition of approval that.
It is in there already.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way, I mean, if there is anything that comes up in that review that would kick it up to wetlands, it would have to probably come back to the commission.
I have, okay, maybe let me make you a presentation, because I do have other questions. Go ahead.
I did not bring any additional documents with me tonight. I do believe you have the construction documents, the structural documents, and the site plan.
Do you have materials or what the facade is going to look like? You have no picture, okay? I mean, usually we have pictures of what things they're going to have. For example, when they did the Honda building, they showed us the colors and they showed us what the exterior was going to look like after. You have no elevation?
The elevations were on the board over here.
Well, usually they give us picture elevations with the colors diagrammed.
I do have your sign application. Would that be a good
It would,
thing
yes.
to show? So I'm going to pass around that, which has some elevations in it.
Correct.
No, we're not voting on it,
No.
but you've got to see what the facade is going to look like. She has the pictures for signs.
But we're not voting on the signs.
No. No,
Then
the
we
signs
can see
are
what it
all,
looks like. We're not even gonna ask any questions about it,
Just the
right?
facade, material, and color.
Not going here.
We're not even gonna ask any
Just
questions
gonna do
about
what
it.
to do it, and we just-
That pub open yet?
That brewery.
It's done now.
No, I know, but we've had others, says we shouldn't have to do the evidence work. Yeah, but they aren't using all these colors.
what colors are you using?
The facade color, I believe, is identified on the color code.
Oh,
I
see.
apologize, it was
There-
my understanding this
there's a gray with
information had
a-
been reviewed.
There's a
It's
gray
what?
with a
I'm
circle.
sorry?
That is correct, yes.
You what?
It was my understanding that the information had been provided and reviewed. I apologize, I would have
Well,
brought a
when we
rendering.
get
Well, the
samples,
problem
it's
is,
hard
it
to
is, we
copy.
have it, but it's copy, and this is the official hearing, and you're making the presentation. We just don't rubber stamp, oh, I want to do this, and that's it. You've got to tell us something about it, other than what we have in print.
Also, the appearance of the canopy too, what's the color, the
So
material, what's it
where's
look
this
like?
going?
Those are important considerations.
You have this gray, I guess it's gray smoke.
You can see it on this, you can see it on this here.
This is a little different for Charlie, because he likes neutral colors.
No, it's fine, it's all right. No, I like that color, I
It
just
is
want to know
nice.
where they're going.
It's a steel blue, it is, it's a nice color.
They're colors to me, they look
Right.
nice, but I don't
But
know where
we
they're
don't know,
going.
like,
What-
I don't
yeah.
know where, what is this?
So,
That material sample is for the ephes that's
Okay.
going to go on the front facade and also the new service drive canopy.
Okay,
Okay. That is not the color, that is strictly representing the finish. The color itself is the smoke gray.
Yeah.
That's just the material
this is the
finish.
this is the feel of it.
That
Okay.
is correct, yes.
Oh,
That is correct,
Okay,
yes.
got it.
What's
See, that
this?
was good.
That is part of the signage. You will see in the document that I believe they're passing around now, there's a color rendering of all the
Oh, well, also, we
elevations
have
of the building.
We have sign collars here. I just care that, we can't do signs, I just care about the
canopy.
facade, the canopy. Okay, so,
Oh, those squares, that's the
These-
part of the canopy? On the,
what's this? Are these
That's
all-
part of the signage.
My eyes, are these all the same color? Is that what we have?
Those two are yes, but again, that is the signage.
This is
As far
signage?
as, yes, correct. It was, all of the signage information was provided with the
Well, we don't deal
original,
signs.
correct,
okay, so we don't need
We
this
don't
right
even
now.
talk about signs.
signage.
This is the color of the sign, okay.
Let's
That
see
is
if we can
correct.
get what the
So-
building's gonna look like.
I have a question.
Sure,
In this picture,
yes.
it appears that there's a gray background on which the blue sign is mounted and the name Leah.
Yes.
Okay, so that material is
The
those
gray,
plastic?
the gray panel in the back.
Yeah.
That's going to be the ephes color, or the ephes material.
The smooth material.
No,
The yellow one.
no.
The yellow?
That is correct, yes. It is not going to be a shiny material.
Okay.
All of the hard samples, that's correct. That's what, yes.
And there are different shades of gray in that. Is it going to be different
That
shades?
is,
It's going to
no,
be
it's
same.
all going to be the same smoke gray color.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, so this is not a color?
This is a texture,
Oh.
this is the color.
Correct.
So this is
Like
like,
downs on Marblehead, I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
oh, wait a minute, that's not really the canopy though, is it?
I don't know what it is.
In the
We're making our
canopy,
own- We're making our own presentation here. It's,
will the canopy look like the sign material that we just looked at, the sign backing?
The canopy will be the same ephes
Okay,
facade.
In the-
And then there will, the signage.
Yes.
Will be the shiny samples that you saw.
so the canopy will look like the signing of the existing building?
It's going to match.
Very
Yes.
good.
Yes.
So
The
this-
go
okay,
ahead.
go ahead.
Okay, so. this is where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
This is the look of it. This is the color, and this is the material. Got it?
Right,
Okay.
right.
All right. Pass you guys. See, the difference is typically, like on these plans, that we would have had one page that would have shown us the look of the canopy.
Gonna look like that.
And, you know, we have the aerial views of the canopy. I knew it was on the side at the service center, but I just didn't know
You know, that feet.
the outside look of it.
Okay. Yes, the facade of the canopy will match the facade of the
Of the
building.
building.
Yes.
That was key. Okay.
Photos of it, too.
The, okay. Making us work tonight.
Yeah, I know. Today was a little bit more work with that.
A couple of questions. The EMS said they about a problem. What were their concerns? Was it with the height of the building or access to the building during
There was a
construction or?
Yes,
because then it said-
during construction, there was a concern with emergency vehicles being able to travel around the building.
Access, right.
Yes, but it was only during construction. There is, from the edge of the new canopy to the curb, there's 42 feet existing. We would think at a maximum, we would use 10 feet of that, which would leave 32 feet for the emergency vehicle to travel around. There are some existing parking spots there, so during the time of construction, the owner would not be able to park cars in that area to allow access for emergency vehicles to drive around.
Okay. The other thing that we've had problems with, in particular on Freshwater Boulevard, is the loading and unloading of the transport vehicles in the road because it obstructs traffic, causes accidents and backups and the whole bit. And so we have generally asked for a specific location that has been marked for the loading and unloading of the transport vehicles. And I had asked whether or not, and I don't know if this particular agency was one that we had caught at the time, if this is going to obstruct that area or interfere with any of your loading or unloading of transport vehicles. Because you're going to end up with tickets, I know, for the agency or the trucker if they get out there on Palumba, and if you're going, because you don't mark on your, or I didn't pick it up, all you say is asphalt on here, and it wasn't designated. I don't know if you had time to check, because I had called in to ask if the original plan showed it, because I don't know if this was one
There is
agency that
not
did.
a loading and unloading area identified on the documents.
Okay.
The owner, well, the renter of this property, the Leo Auto Group, also has multiple properties on Palumba Drive. And it is my understanding that they will be loading and unloading vehicles during the construction process on their adjacent properties.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that any of your, as the fire department was concerned about your stocking, if you'd block their being able to load or unload. Another problem, well, it's one that our zoning enforcement officer will be after, but they constantly are parking where it says grass, because I don't think there's a blade of grass out there because it's probably gone. They park their vehicles for sale are out there, where it's supposed to be grass. My major concern would be anything that's gonna cost the money if there's pollution. But that's not your deal, because that's not what you're here for, but it's just some problems that I know with the construction you're gonna do, and it'll make the building much better. And I know that each dealer gets required to upgrade to carry the product.
Correct.
And it's gonna make the building look much better. It's an asset to the town to have them there.
So should we make a condition that they will be unloading not in the street, in the adjacent parking during construction? Would that cover that? If
Well,
that's-
they are aware that they'll get tickets, but I think it would be a good one, yes.
Yeah, all right.
That's why I said, I didn't know if this was one that we had caught. I know when they used to have their.
Well, that would solve it, because then he's okay, we're okay,
Yeah.
and the owners would have to abide by it if they want their.
When they had their storage yard up where the bumper cars are, or whatever, it was on the maps. We had them put it on there for the loading and unloading. I don't, as I said to Rachel, I don't know if we caught this one way back, but as we learn, we try to put them in on the places. Okay, thank you. That's the only question I had, because it does create, that street is very heavily trafficked.
It's a safety
and
concern, yeah.
It does cause a major problem when the transports unload there.
So will that be an added condition then, or?
24?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
if it doesn't have a designated spot, and he says it doesn't, so, okay.
So unloading of cars will not be on Palumba Drive. Do we need to put in,
Well, he states that the owner has agreed to,
Right.
that they are gonna do that?
It was my understanding through conversation that was their plan. We brought up the same concern.
Okay,
If
so
we
we'll
have
just-
construction vehicles in the area.
Right.
And a tractor trailer pulls up and tries to get
Right.
around, it would interfere
and
with
so
the
we
construction.
don't want them just to stop on Palumba, so if they're, unloading of cars will not be allowed on Palumba Drive.
Well, they aren't, period, anyway.
Right.
No, the unloading and loading
Of
of
construction.
vehicles are to be taking place on the owner's
Private.
other properties,
Okay.
or the dealer's other properties.
For the duration
or
of
what-
construction, correct?
Property of the applicant.
Well, no, it's
Ever,
constant,
forever.
ever.
Oh, okay.
But he's
Loading-
supposed to do on his own property, and
Right.
he's aware of that.
Right.
And as far as I know, they've been complying.
Okay.
So Laura, you might have to read.
Every once in a while, they get one driver, which they have no control over, a new driver, or comes in, or a different company is transporting, or something like that, and they end up parking up there, and it creates a problem. It also creates a problem for the driver. If he gets a ticket and his boss doesn't like tickets, it could create a problem, so we killed that one.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So is loading and unloading of cars must be on private property,
Vehicles?
vehicle?
More general.
Okay, of vehicles. Good. Vehicles. Okay, must be on private property. Okay. That covers that. Okay. Done.
Okay, any questions from anyone? Rachel, anything?
No?
Anybody else, anything? Okay, then I'll close,
It's not
SPR, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry,
Is it
go
a
ahead.
public? No.
I'm going to close SPR 1615. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the roll, or not the roll,
Do I make a motion first, or?
Yes, make a
Okay,
motion.
I'll make a motion to approve SPR number 1615, site plan modifications to modify the facade and construct a 20 by 20 canopy at the existing building located at 40 Palumba Drive in a business regional district, map 57, lot 336, BBL Albany Group 5, applicant, Madero's Realty Trust owner. This approval would be in subject to the application of record and the following conditions. And there are
24.
24 conditions, with the last condition being the loading and unloading of vehicles must be on private property. In a memo dated on March 28th, 2014 by Rachel Blatt, Assistant Town Planner.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Chairman Charles Dern.
4.
Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno, 4. Commissioner Lori Longi.
4.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
I'm for.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
4.
Commissioner Ronald Gregory.
4.
And Commissioner Alan Drynan.
4.
And any, well, there's no abstentions and no noes. 7-4. Nice, motion passes, you're in business.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Do a good job.
Right.
We'll make it look nice. It looks
Yeah.
nice already.
Rachel, will get
It
those
surprises me that so soon they want to change it.
One question for you.
Can I buy a new Oldsmobile
All the
there?
additional required documents I submit with my building permit.
No, there's-
This morning, got an appointment at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay,
Okay.
other business, I'm sorry. Yeah, other business. Public hearing 2781. Report on minor modifications to plans for Mayfield Place.
All right, give me just a minute to get
It's
organized
all
here.
right. It's,
I'll pay you a compliment while you're looking.
I know, go
Just
ahead.
because I noticed that you put in the chart with all of the zoning regs and yes or no, I find that so refreshingly great. I can't say enough of wonderful things about it. It makes not having to go back and look, makes things quicker. I think it makes things quicker for the applicant, so that's a very good job.
So we're doing this with every ART right now. So anytime someone comes in for an ART, they get a full draft list, and then when they submit stuff again, we update the lists and just double check that it's all, everything's been met. So thanks.
We have 3 people in the audience. Before we go on to anything, do you want to talk with us or anything? Or you just like us and you want to stay here for, okay. All right.
All right.
Appreciate your interest. Okay.
So-
Go ahead, Rachel, then.
Are we ready for Mayfield? All right. So you should have received in your packets a memo outline and some backup documents outlining the minor modifications to the plans. John and I both reviewed it. We didn't see anything that was major to us, but we, of course, you know, as our new policy, anything changes, it gets reported back. So the changes are really mostly centered on that mail building.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be that there's a third trash compactor. The RV parking spaces have swapped location with the gravel landscape material storage. And there's a change to the curbing just in the easement area, and that's for the ease of CL&P to access their lines. The walking trail is 5 feet wide. That was a clarification. There was a difference on the detail versus the rest of the plan, so that was fixed. And the conservation easement and conservation area restriction, there's a slight change in the language that was incorporated into the plans that they've submitted for that and the Mylars that they filed. So it's just a matter of making sure that all of those notes are the same throughout the whole set. And then there is a last piece, and that came in today. There's a change to the phasing. It's a very minor change. John and I both looked at it today, and I can pass around the language so you guys can take a look at it. What their phases were is they had 5 phases, and phase 2 is going to be a rough grade of the entire site so that they could even out the cuts and fills. But to do that, they would have to submit a bond for the entire site. So what they've done is they've gone back and made a modification so that they will only take cut and fill from strategic locations that have been identified. And they've gone through and measured out exactly what the area is that they will be covering for those cut and fill locations. So John's opinion is generally, you know, it looks like it'll be a pretty good transition for them in terms of keeping the project moving. So they're down to, it's now 4 phases, it would be now 4 phases. And there were 5, that second phase being the full rough grade. So that one gets eliminated, and then they have 4. The actual lines of what gets built at what time for the actual buildings hasn't changed.
Okay.
So there's no more buildings in the first phase of construction than there were originally. So that's what we're reporting on, and
Okay.
if there are any concerns, we can.
No, you had the little map. The detail from the engineer was easy to follow. hands down, it was good.
The notes were good, just knowing the reasons on
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Right.
Right, exactly. Just to make sure that it's all documented clearly so that if there are ever any questions before, we want to answer
Right.
them before they get to construction.
There had been talk, and I don't know what happened, because I could see they connected their sewer. The capacity for the town sewers, did they ever do the survey? Because they've been talking about the capacity of our lines to handle the flow, and whether or not they'd have to put in a holding facility. Did they ever do a test? I see WPC says everything's fine, I just didn't know if they ran any tests or not.
I had not heard either way on that one. I can ask.
Well, there's no note there, so they must have decided they could.
Yeah, they did decide that they would connect directly
Yeah, I
and
saw
not
they
and
did.
not join with the Dartmoor Association's sewer
They're
line
illegal.
first.
They're illegal things, and Dartmoor or somebody had never signed over.
Right. So the decision was sort of just to keep
There
a
was
split
also
system.
a question of whether or not, I guess it was downstream, would be handling the flow, and whether or not they would use a withholding area, because I had asked the question where that might be if they needed it, and they had said, and it was just that they might have to do a study of the size of the pipes, but I guess it must be all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it's not in our purview anyway, because that would be up to. Yeah, that's all, whether or not. But Dan says it's okay.
Yeah, I can check with Dan and just see if he can give us some update for everyone.
Now, on this, do we make a motion to allow you to go forward with this, or did we already do that? And are you
Sure.
letting us know?
It has not gone forward.
Okay, so
They are at a pause until
We
you all
decide.
agree
Okay.
to allow
All
us
right.
to move forward.
Do you need a motion, or we just,
I
you're
think-
informing us? What do
I
you
think we should probably do a motion then to make it official.
Yeah, make it official.
Sure, yes, that's what it's.
I'll make a motion, do we just say to let Rachel sign off on these minor modifications?
Do we accept,
Or that we accept the minor modifications?
I would say accept the minor modifications since we are reporting them to you in advance, so you have a chance to
do
you
it.
all have-
Engineers have checked it, and Rachel's
Okay.
checked it, so it's not. like-
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the minor modifications to public hearing number 2781, the special permit for a 340-unit multifamily housing development with the related site work to be located on Mayfield Drive off of North Maple Street in the MFHD District, map 78, lot 30, Mayfield Place LLC applicant, New Stream Funding 24, LLC owners, as presented in this three-page memo on March 28th, 2014, from Rachel Blatt.
Second.
Any discussion? Just other than, I think that's the way.
The way to do it.
Better, it's the way
Yeah.
to do it. And then-
Chairman
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Chairman Charles Dern.
Or,
Second Vice Chair Kathleen Sarno, for it. Commissioner Lori Longi.
For it.
Commissioner Nick Lefakis.
I'm for.
Commissioner Charles Ladd.
For.
Commissioner Ron Gregory.
For.
Commissioner Alan Drynan.
4.
Okay.
7-4,
Rachel.
no, nothing against and no abstentions.
They want to know when they're going to have units ready to rent. Do you have any idea on the schedule when that will?
Well, their next step is going to be print the Mylars, and now they're going to be able to move forward with that, and they have to print all the Mylars and get Peter in there to sign, and then it heads on over to the building department after that. So the first couple stages are really the groundwork. So I'm not sure how long that.
Well, they've been
takes.
doing work under the power lines. And
Right,
all
on
through
the
that.
easement
Yeah,
pieces
the
they've been
easement
working
stuff.
on.
Have a potential
I have not checked in with them. No, but I will get it. I can get an answer and we can report it next meeting.
had several questions about that.
Yeah, because I know they will be very happy to hear that they can print and come back in because we were sort of holding them until we got it all settled once and for all. Then there will be no questions later on.
No, well, shouldn't be.
Hopefully not.
I don't know if we'll ever have none.
Yeah.
Okay, good job. Townsville rezoning. This was a very good, concise report, too. Okay. Oh, here we go. We're gonna use the equipment.
We are going to use the equipment.
Very good. Why don't you move down forward and join with us? We just need, we'll have public participation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're good. PowerPoint.
Yep. Well, we will.
We'll see it on the TV,
Okay.
hopefully.
Can you see the screen?
No, we can't see the screen, but maybe they'll be picking it up for us. Yeah, there we go. Oh,
Okay, because I only see black, so that's a.
no, there's something on our
There's something on
TV.
ours.
All right.
Thompsonville, it's,
So I wonder if I shift back over here, if I'll actually be able to see the TV.
Oh, right.
Okay.
yeah, because the camera isn't on, I don't think.
Holy smokes, the Republicans doing it now.
What were we talking about?
What's this?
Papers on the sidewalk, she said. Litter.
Somebody for delivery this week.
That's a Republican. It's Springfield. It's a Springfield paper.
Oh, that's their freebie.
Someone must be delivering them from there.
Yeah.
That might be it. Well, we can go through just the paper version.
Okay, we'll have to.
Presentation when we get to the hearing, if that's better.
I don't know, I don't know, I don't think.
That's your button over there?
Did you get the projector button on? Because the projector isn't on.
Is that on the wall?
Yeah, over there.
Yeah, I can see it lit up, so something's on.
Got a light coming out of it.
This is good practice.
It is.
Yeah, that's it.
This
It's
is-
right.
There you go. All right.
Now you can see us or you can see what they're doing.
This should toggle back and forth so I can hear. Okay, but maybe it's coming. Yeah.
It takes a while. Well, yeah, it's getting brighter.
I think there's a function key to press.
Oh, you just turned, oh,
I see you guys now.
yeah, we can see down here.
Okay, what's the difference? Gotta learn sometime.
I know, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're seeing what the public is seeing
Yeah.
on the screen.
That's
And my
okay.
computer does not seem to allow
Wanna
me
take
to
it?
look at it.
Is it plugged all in? Yeah.
There's something about sleep
Alright.
mode that's a little bit messed up.
So we'll
Okay.
practice this with, all right, we'll go to the paper version. We'll practice this with
I know.
ETV before we get to a public hearing.
Okay.
There's your computer. She worked really hard for a quick second.
I know.
Uh,
Do you want me to play with it while you talk? And
Maybe
if
it's
I
a
get it out,
connection.
you
Go
can use
ahead.
it?
See if you can.
Is the plug-in tight?
Yeah, it's just not showing on there either, so it's a little hard to guess.
Turn
But it's
off your-
basically the same information. I was,
Whoop, you got it
Yeah,
again, whatever you did.
There is something black now.
Oh, interesting, okay.
All right, well, we're going out over the air, so let's for the public.
Right. So anyway, so where we are with Thompsonville rezoning is, over the last couple weeks, you know, we are trying to keep this process moving and get those questions answered so that we can get it up. The first piece, this is the Thompsonville Village Residential will be the first piece to go to public hearing. And we're making that push to get every question answered so that we are ready with a full draft for that as soon as possible. So the two questions that we were hoping to answer for tonight were about what those boundaries of the Thompsonville Village residential would be, and if it made sense to go forward with the Cecil Group's recommendation for an R15 district at this point in time. So what we started with was some GIS analysis, looking at our maps and trying to get a sense of what are the densities in these areas and what are the lot sizes there. And, you know, would it make sense to expand that Thompsonville Village residential piece? And just for reminder purposes, the Thompsonville Village residential would be a new zone, and the lot size would be the minimum lot size would be 8,500 square feet. The coverage would be 85%, and that's equivalent to what the lot coverage is in the Thompsonville Village Center district right now. And in addition to that, it would allow duplexes by right and 3 and 4 family houses by special permit. And the key piece here that we were really looking at is, the question was, you know, what are the densities of duplexes and multifamily units in each of these areas of Thompsonville? So we were looked at the area that was proposed to be Thompsonville Village Residential, which is the area north of Alden Ave. And then we also looked for analysis purposes at the area that I called Belmont for lack of a really solid term, and that's the area right around Mount Carmel. Claremont, which is there's Claremont Street, O'Hare, Lynch, Woodward, those streets in there, between 91, Elm, and Hazard Ave. And then the Green Valley area, which would be the streets through Fairview, Spire, Orchard Hill, down to the high school. And that's the map that you all have and that we almost had on TV. So looking at those 4 areas, the analysis showed that, you know, of all those areas, the area north of Alden Ave has the smallest average lot size. It's the closest to that 8,500 mark. Yeah. The average lot sizes in the other areas is all a little bit higher. So reducing it to that 8,500 might not make so much sense. And then the other piece is, the big kicker here, I think, is that multifamily ratio. It's 68% multifamily, and that's duplexes and up in the area north of Alden Avenue. And then those other neighborhoods, it's down around 10 to 20%.
That's why I was afraid that's when we were talking about it, that we could really do some damage if we allowed it.
I mean, this is good to know.
This is why, this is a great thing you did, really.
Yeah.
It's good analysis.
So I think it really shows that the Cecil Group had, I think, a good idea here in, you know, trying this out in that limited area, because already, with 68% multifamily already, our current duplex regulations would basically allow all of those lots to become duplexes if they aren't already. Yeah. So I think it really shows that by doing it by right, it just makes it easier to let them do what they already would have been able to do anyway. And then,
if you look like in Belmont, where Lori had a duplex, well, it was threeplex. Yeah. I mean, she was one of these 22%, but, you know, how many are you going to allow? It could be a problem.
and the thing is anyone who has, I mean, the regulations are as such that anyone who already has a multifamily building would not be negatively impacted. They could continue to operate at the number of units that they currently have.
The east end of Belmont is, I think, all exclusively single-family. Charles Street, I think, has one multifamily. Margaret is all single-family. And most of O'Hare and Lynch are single-family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Claremont and Edward, those are single-family. And then even when you go up to the green area that you're calling Green Valley, Spear, Mathewson, Gordon, Orchard Hill, Hathaway, Hillside, those are all
single family.
Single family.
So if you look actually on the second map, the current land use map, everything in pink on that map, that's single family residences.
Oh, okay.
So this, and if you look at the northern area, you know, we've got duplex, those 2-family houses on Bigelow and Hartford. Almost every lot is a 2-family.
Yeah.
And then the ones that aren't on those streets, they're mostly multifamily. So it's, that is the nature of that is the character of that neighborhood already.
Yes, it sure is.
Yeah, this is actually great because we got the information and the visual.
Right,
So it was like a complete package.
So it will be on screen when we do a public hearing, because unfortunately it's not tonight, but we will have it on screen for everyone to see when we get to that public hearing point.
Now, and the Green Valley type then, because I was thinking, when you did the Green Valley, you didn't include the public housing?
I did in the review.
You did in the calculations? So they're part of like the
but they don't show up.
Multifamily, the 21% would include the housing authorities?
That's a good question. I'll have to check.
Okay. Yeah, they are.
Right,
white,
they don't
that's
show
why-
up as part of that map.
Oh, yeah, they're at least, well, yeah, both 2s and 4s.
On Green Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all multis. Or at the top of the street they are, and I
But
think
I
even
didn't
down.
know if they were included on your
They probably are. I mean, looking at the numbers here, that area does look a lot more single family, except for the housing authority's property, which is not shown on the land use map.
Okay.
It comes up as something. I think it comes up as something different because it's.
There are scattered along Pearl Street along through there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
Fairview
hard
has a fair number of two-family.
to
It
have
looks
them
like.
pink, but I think
Yeah.
they'd find some.
Yeah. But this is good because you can see everything.
It is,
You don't have to guess.
Yeah, exactly. It took a long time to get into the maps.
Okay.
But now I'm there, so it's.
So you did this?
This one actually, the current land use map we've got, that was actually Rob Sperazza over at IT. He's our GIS guy.
Okay.
But the analysis, the first one, those
That's
districts,
what-
that's yeah.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
Those are great, yeah.
So now that we have that, it's just getting familiar with the data. But I mean, we have a lot of really good data in our GIS system, and that's IT they do a really great job of keeping it up to date. The vision, it's directly linked to the vision database that the assessor's office has, and it gets updated actually, I think, more frequently than the grand list and the public GIS that you see.
Okay.
So it's updated daily basically to make sure that we're getting the most accurate data possible.
That's great.
Great.
Well, your recommendations, from reading them after you consider looking at the maps and considering what you said, I would tend to agree with your conclusions.
So I'm thinking that my hope was that we would get, because the other question that had come up was the building department, and what protections are there in terms of, what limitations, I guess, are there on duplex creation in terms of building code, that we would not, so that we're not being redundant and also in conformance with each other, so that whatever regulations are put in place for those by right duplexes match what happens with the building code.
Okay.
So that's the next step before we can, finalize a draft for the public hearing, is to just confirm everything with the building department, because there is some components that we were discussing about minimum size, separation, doorways, things like that. So I want to get you guys that information for the next meeting, and we'll have that discussion and then
Right.
move on from there.
Okay. Looks
Okay,
good.
so, yeah.
Same rules as building?
And the building code, there is an update to the building code that's come up. I think at the end of February, there was a newly adopted code, so there's, some minor changes that have happened
Okay.
on their
Can I
side.
ask in building, because a while, I believe the secretary was signing some zoning things, is she still doing so now that we have a person on board?
Signing off on building permits? Linda, is that?
Linda. She passed the Casio test.
She did.
Yes.
Which person are we speaking of?
Linda.
I think Linda in the building department, because Barbara's in the planning department, right?
Barb is in our department.
Yeah.
I am taking on the building permits is one of the last projects I'm working on. Virginia Higley is managing that as
No, but
the
there was a
assistant.
person that, and we never appointed her to do it, but she was
Linda.
doing it. We know, we had there was
No,
a.
Ginny will be signing off on the building permits while Tracy gets up to speed.
Right, and then by July 1, if not earlier, I'll be taking that over.
Okay, because she was never authorized by us.
No, I'm speaking of Jenny.
Oh, no.
I am
not
unaware
Jenny.
of Linda
I'm talking
signing
about-
anything.
She's not signing anything now anymore?
No.
All right.
We'll confirm, but I don't believe so.
Okay, yeah, I know, but,
Not Linda, just Jenny. Jenny is the backup.
yeah, well, she was CEO.
Right, she's
Yeah.
the backup.
No, but they were having, it's okay, I just wanted to check that you were it, because, okay,
So in terms of moving forward with Thompsonville, is everyone in agreement that we'll stick to the original TVR outline, that area north of Alden Ave?
after this presentation, absolutely. yeah.
And then come back to the idea of an R15 down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll move on to the mixed-use sections of Thompsonville and then come back to that one. And that might, we can take a look at broader sections of town at that point too and see what makes sense.
Okay, that's good.
Exactly.
Yep. Good job.
It is.
So that's the report on that, and we'll be back with the building department information next, and then full steam ahead.
How about applications to be received?
I've got a bunch.
All right. That's good. Maybe we'll get more help in the office.
Oh, wow.
Two-pager? All right.
Oh, I need to copy.
Yeah.
Okay. So while it's coming on, why don't we tackle the second page first? It's a
Wait.
So we've got, I'll just do, overall, we've got 4 new site plan applications and a modification that's requested administrative approval, and again, coming here first to ask.
Hold on. Let's take the public hearing. Oh,
Yeah. 2.
hold on. The public hearing is a administrative approval?
This is the Catholic Cemetery on 110 North Street.
Yeah, that's St. Bernard's Cemetery.
St. Bernard's, yeah. And they are looking to change the type of material of their pathway. They had originally applied with a pervious pavement, and they found that actually to install that, it would really it would impact their maintenance. So their maintenance would require no sanding and no salting, and they're nervous about that because of the age of visitors, and they're concerned about snow and not being able to salt the pathway would be a problem for them. So that they are asking to be able to convert to a standard asphalt paving material. It would be reviewed by John before it gets.
No, wait a minute. It says to change the asphalt material.
Right, so it was a pervious asphalt that would let the water sink through.
All right.
And with that material, the material that they had chosen, they couldn't salt. And so they were worried about in winter not being able to salt it.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just a different type of asphalt.
Just a different type of asphalt.
I'm okay with that.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to let Rachel do an administrative approval for,
With consultation with the engineer.
with the consult of the John Cabibble, the town engineer.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yep. So,
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, or we'll take the roll.
okay,
Lori will
I'll
take the roll.
take the roll.
You're
Charles Durin.
4.
Kathleen Sarno's gone. Lori Longi, 4. Nick Lefakis.
I'm 4.
Charles Ladd.
4.
Ronald Gregory.
4.
Alan Drynan.
4.
All in favor.
6-4-0 against, and no abstentions, and Ron Gregory and Alan Drynan were voting for the absent commissioners. I should have said before.
That's all right.
Okay. That takes care of that. Sheet 2. All right, sheet 1. An unnumbered address. How'd that ever?
It's this is in Hazardville. It's right in the center of Hazardville. The address, they have a postal address. They do have an address, but the zoning address is non-listed.
Right on the corner of Elm and Hazard.
Exactly, and it shows up in our system as just Elm Street with no number.
Elm and Non-hazard.
This is the
Does it have a
Rockville
fire
Bank.
Oh, I see. Does it have a fire department number? It's the
Oh.
bank?
It's the Rockville Bank.
Oh, it's a bank?
is there, there's a dentist next door.
Yeah, the dentist is a separate building.
There's a gas station.
Right.
So Rockville Bank is their own parcel, and for some reason in town records it has no address.
So this is for the Rockville Bank.
Right. So Rockville Bank is looking to do a total new facade, and it is a design district, so they will be presenting that.
Are they,
They're combining with another bank, right?
Yeah, they combined with United.
United.
Okay. When are they ready? Are they,
They're ready. Everybody's ready.
okay,
I mean, we don't have comments necessarily for everybody yet, but
okay.
the material, the applications are complete. I mean, I think, so we can go
It's
through.
39 Hazard Avenue. It says in an existing building. What building is it? Just curious.
This is the Plaza Azteca.
I'm
They're-
sorry?
Plaza Azteca is looking to do a,
Is that
to get
the
approval
restaurant?
for the Cinco de Mayo layout for an outdoor event for Cinco de Mayo. In the front parking spaces
Oh.
is what they're looking at.
Is this a one-day event?
Yes. It would be just an evening event.
Parking. So they're eliminating how many spaces?
I would have to count again.
Well,
That might be a
need
problem.
Might
we
be a
can have a
dozen.
I mean-
hearing, but they're would need to have, you better have fire, police.
Fire's already on it. There's a first round of comments already.
Because
They got parking in back.
if they use it in park, I know they do. They should hold it out back, because I'm thinking if
So
they
they-
hold it in front of the building,
The
the fire
plaza,
department getting around the buildings.
I can explain. So the plaza, which plaza is that? That's the
Bob's.
The Bob's Plaza, the same one with Chick-fil-A from last meeting.
Yeah.
They own all the parking in the back. There is an understanding. I have to verify exactly
Is that
what the
different
agreement
owners,
is, but there is parking for both. The Plaza Azteca building and the Olive Garden building are their own buildings on their
Yeah.
own lots. Most of their parking actually is connected to the rest of
back.
the plaza.
It's a back, yeah.
So this could actually impact the rest of the plaza in terms of their future plans for growth. So it's something that needs some serious looking into. But in terms of the actual event, that's why they're being directed to do their event within the limits of the front area.
When
But
those,
I'm concerned about if you have something going on in there, emergency, whether fire or EMS, the front parking lot is there's only
Travel.
parking, it's travel, and there's be no way to continue on through.
So so that's something. I mean, fire and EMS and police, they've all gotten the copies already. So we'll see what they say.
yeah.
We're gonna have to look at
Yes,
that
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay, when is the Cinco de Mayo?
May 5th.
May 5th.
May
First
5th,
day. May
5/5.
5/5.
Okay, so,
So April 17th is my recommendation.
yeah, that's why I'm just asking that question, because I don't think
Exactly.
we want to be on the first.
No, yeah. I think the April 17th date,
Okay.
definitely.
SPR 1618,
Give away free margaritas.
75 freshwater.
So the next
Costco.
one down.
Oh, Costco?
Costco.
Costco,
Oh, my.
Costco is looking to be allowed to do an outdoor sale of plants. It would be April 1st through June 1st. And I have the plans, and then, it seems like something that administrative approval, if it would be possible to do with the fire marshal's review, of
Yeah,
course.
have you ever been in that parking lot?
It's not in the
Need I
parking
say
area.
anymore? It's like
There
a
actually is. It's a
hazard
few.
daily,
If
just,
people really-
It's they're looking to do it along the side of the building,
What
which side?
by the tire.
Oh,
That's also a bottleneck too for people coming
So we better look at it.
Yeah,
I
we
think
better-
that's
So
gotta
would you
be a
prefer
look
to
and
come here?
see, yeah.
Yep, they
Okay.
better come in.
That's a traffic.
This is why we ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're right. No matter what side you're going to put
No
it
matter
on.
what side you go to, it's just there's a lot of cars, there's people crossing, they don't follow the lines. I think that they would have to have
People aren't
cones.
respectful of each other.
Yeah.
Nobody drives fast there anyways.
A lot of people park and wait for somebody to come out, and they sit there with their blinkers on, so.
Which they aren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to do it.
So we'll have it come?
Don't stop at the stop signs.
Yeah.
We do allow outside displays, and maybe once after, it's like the grocery stores have a standard one, but they have within limits.
Right, so it would be a season, I think my understanding of the regulation is that it's seasonal, so that once you get the approval and you have not changed your,
Yeah, but there's a distance.
Every
between
season.
This and this, there's a set.
I mean, it's a booming business, Costco is. It's great. They have a
It
great
is,
business.
It's terrific.
But there's 4 or 5 different lanes all huddled into one.
At the front
And
entrance.
at Christmas time, they literally have a police and a patrol person there.
Sometimes Saturdays.
Also, this is not a one-day annual event, this is 2 months.
so we will bring it
Every year,
forward.
that's-
Yes,
Saturday.
Understandable.
It's important, I think. That's an important area. And I'm happy they have so much business,
So
but
have the
it's just
police
a,
involved in
yeah.
that too, just for traffic
For the
control
traffic?
and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Just and its effect on their traffic on that section.
I mean, traffic safety generally looks at just the road connection.
I know,
right,
but
but this is a
interior
little bit
too,
more.
they'd give us
Okay.
interior, or I have in past.
Okay, I mean, yeah, the best I can do is ask.
And, it's okay, 1619.
This is to convert this is what was the tattoo parlor up at 55 Enfield Street. It's been sitting vacant for a while, and they're looking to open a Chinese takeout restaurant.
That has been a restaurant, way back.
Right, but it's a change of, my understanding was it's a change of use since it
Everything.
hasn't been,
Uh,
but they're definitely ready. They've been through an ART on that one.
Well, that's good, that'll be something that really, it'll help the area. That's right next to Boston Seafood,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
So they're all
So
ready.
They're all ready. It's a matter of, I mean, I think they're all site plans. There's no.
They could be the 17th then.
Just do 'em all?
because, none of them look like they should be too heavy.
Yeah,
That's what I was
My only
thinking.
suggestion is please have them
ready.
come with something to give us that we don't have to do the work for them. I mean, they're supposed to present to us, not us to
So
them.
have them come with a more fully prepped for
Oh, yeah.
you're going to be presenting to the town.
I mean.
Well, the Rockville
Grant-
Bank especially,
Yes, and
because
then
they're
they're
a
going to
facade
be
change, so if they have their samples, their colors, a
Some
little
visuals.
rendering, so that we know where they're putting this stuff.
And remind them that we're on a public television and people can't visualize when they give us a verbal presentation. We have the paperwork, as the gentleman from the automotive place said, but the public doesn't have it. And the
So-
public doesn't know sometimes why we give permission if they can't see it and they wonder what's going on. So have them be prepared to give us a presentation.
I mean, this is just a suggestion going forward. We get a paper copy that could be scanned in, and if they had a scanned if they gave the scanned copy, then it could
to
get flipped.
ETV.
Yes, then they could just flip through the pages. So if they didn't have anything but a verbal, at least they could show the maps that we're looking on. That's just, a futuristic.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
I said
I'll-
before,
Can check in with
the material
Kobe.
we have and that they are on TV and that the people, I meet a lot of people in town and they recognize me for,
Right.
you go through the store and they say, they have comments for you, and it's all through TV, and they're listening, and that's what we have it for, and it's what we always wanted, to let them know what we're doing, and so is just have the applicants come prepared to let the people at home know as well as us what
Right.
they intend to do.
And then again, they can come like we have public tonight, so, but it's nice if they can see it on TV.
Yeah, I mean, we just can't, right now, I don't see any way of forcing anyone into
No.
it,
No,
but, you
no.
know,
Right,
the,
but I
the
mean-
strong recommendation.
But they are making an application and a presentation. They are supposed
Right.
to make a presentation.
I mean, if we made it easy for them and said, oh, well, like, you know, just give us a scanned copy of what you're presenting with the exhibits, the 4 maps, they could put it up there like Exhibit 1, 2, 3, or whatever, so
I
if
mean,
they
just to
have
come
it.
in and say, well, you got it, just let me have my go ahead and vote on it because you got the whole thing in front of you.
Right, it's that they're convincing
That
not
doesn't
only the
work.
commission, but also the public.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's not that, even
Or
before
even for
we
you all.
had that, they had to make a presentation.
Yep.
Because just to say that, oh, well, you have it all in your packet, that doesn't go legally either. For the judge wouldn't want to say,
Right,
well,
that they have to
yeah.
state it for the record, and
Yeah.
give us a little bit more. Okay.
And
question for
again,
Courtney.
notify those people that are professionals that we have this equipment that,
Yeah, we
would like
did
to
add that to
use
the, to our draft guide, that we're finding more things that need to be
Yeah.
added.
Yeah.
but I
we're
would like to
doing
use
good.
it more. We should, oh, yeah, it's like night and day.
Yeah. We're doing good.
I don't know about the other commission members. I've been getting a lot of questions about the restaurants we're approving. People want to know if Courtney's got any high-end ones coming in. We're getting a lot of fast foods, but no high-ends.
Got,
The fast foods come
got Texas.
pretty
Roadhouse.
regularly because of the
Well,
mall,
got the
and because of our highway access here.
The people miss the Mountain Laurel.
No,
Well, that or
Yeah,
there used to be a nice French restaurant up in Stafford.
yeah.
yeah, I can talk to her and see if she's got anyone that she can.
Anybody, high-end people interested in coming to,
Well, there was.
high-end eaters in town, we just want to have some high-end restaurants.
Isn't the out parcel on the mall still available
We don't wanna
by the
keep going
mobile
to New York
station?
for it.
As far as I know, yes.
That's a good location. And I think there's a couple other out parcels down there.
And I think, I mean, the other thing is, when we're looking at Thompsonville in this mixed-use district, that is gonna, I mean, that's a prime area for some really cool, interesting
Right.
restaurants to go.
Well, there's that, yeah, if we ever get access down to the river. it would
Suffield
be-
has
And
a
that
couple of nice-
access is coming, the riverfront recapture, I mean,
Two.
Connecticut River Access Project is, in the works. There's a lot of interesting things, and especially I think as those improvements come into the pond this summer, those new benches, the really attractive trash cans, there's, some work
the
coming
old
to maybe
fire
get some
station.
really great,
The old fire station make a good.
a great
pub.
restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be a good brewer.
Actually, I've gotten several questions about that. When are you guys going to bring a high-end restaurant into this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the big thing is just showing restaurateurs and developers that there is the demand for it, right? So it's, I mean, Laura, this might be something to discuss at the EEDC meeting when we have, because I'll be joining you for next meeting.
I have a-
Yeah, so it was demonstrating that there is demand here, and a lot of the work we're doing in terms of mapping our densities, what's our population, what are our demographics here. That's a lot of pieces that are going to show, and then changing our zoning and making it really easy. And I think making our process smooth is the best thing we can do to attract
Well, I think
new
the ads-
folks.
The ads that town's doing, I don't know the young lady that's doing it, every once in a while that are on TV about Enfield.
Oh, Maya.
Yeah, those are good. They're very good.
I have a question, going back to your notes from the marijuana production facility and dispensary licenses. At the very bottom of, you say 5 to 7 facilities will be licensed in the first round. Tonight they announced 6.
Oh, they did 6. Okay.
So my question is, that was for March. Do you know the date for the next round?
He said it would be several months to a year.
Several months to a year. Okay.
So my anticipation is that it'll probably be on that closer to a year time frame, because it
figure out if it
takes so much
works.
time to get these things processed. And so the hope is that with bringing in a consultant to really move things forward on that front, and that way also with this, once we see this first round, there might be a good opportunity to do a field trip out to see one of these places
Exactly.
and what it's like.
Well, as we consider our own modifications of the zoning regs, we can benefit from the experience of these 6, and we do have some time if the next round isn't going to be for 9 or 12 months. So we need to do it soon, but we do also have time to learn from the experience of the first half dozen.
And Tracy and I met someone who is one of the growers at that conference, and it would be great if we could get a tour of their facility too, because it sounds like, you know, it would be a really interesting thing to see. And it was what I thought was most interesting about that meeting is their approach to it as strictly a medical. It was strictly medical. All of the language was, this is basically like a pharmacy or a pharmaceutical plant. That's how the state was looking at it. This is a medical product that we treat as a medical, you know.
Even their waste disposal was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting, the whole thing.
Webpage for the current, where I got the
Mike.
other articles,
Hmm.
they had a section.
Use your microphone.
They had a section that showed all the different ways of dispensing it. With a patch,
Mm-hmm.
or with injection, actual smoke in it, or in a vaporizer, you could breathe it in the air. All kinds of- There was like 12 different ways of dispensing that stuff.
Well, but we'll learn something when we get there.
Motion to what do we leave? How do we do it?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
I've never done it. That's
All
the
in
first time
favor?
in 4 years.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.